Hello today. Hey, Vinny Pots and Pans. What's up? I'm gonna do a short little topic today, and then I'll open up the panel. First, I have a few tweets. Um, Apparently, murder and other violent crime have dropped across the U.S. in the last year. It is back down to 2019 levels pre-COVID, which were some of the lowest levels compared to the 90s anyway. So um, that's happening. That's news. And hopefully it can be helpful in correcting misinformation. And then here's a concept this guy introduced called nut picking, which I like. He said this is called nut picking. Choosing the worst of a side and pretending it represents everyone, more or less the same as straw manning. In this case, actually, he's talking about something else. Um, in my experience, and how I was taught, that's a very inferior way of thinking. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's a logical fallacy. Making assumptions about a group based on a few members in that group. It's like poor induction. I know the temptation, but I think it's an emotionally based temptation. I think it's thought both individually and historically has moved from the kind of the mythical level to the logical level, the imaginative to the rational. So like we encounter something and we have this picture in our mind of what's going on and we have emotions that are reacting to it and at some either concurrently or at some later stage of the process like rationality can come in and we can apply rationality to it and kind of modify that a bit. So that seems later in the process. So initially I think it's from that first stage where we might see one or two people that are really bad and we think, oh my God, that group is bad. But then when we do that like extra step of applying reason, we see how almost every group is going to have its extreme members, its outliers, if you will. um, I don't know why we're judging groups at all. I don't think in groups. That's like so un-American to me to even think in groups, unless you're like planning policy or something. But the average ordinary American has no reason to go around thinking in terms of black people, white people. In fact, that video I watched yesterday pointed out that, and I agree, there is no white identity or white culture or black identity or black culture. There are black subcultures and ethnicities and white subcultures, but there's not a single white identity or black identity. But there will be if this neo-racism comes up because they're going to create it. They're going to consolidate a white identity in reaction to a black identity that they consolidate. So if there's a danger of that happening, it's coming from them. I'm happy with the variety of the different subcultures. I would like to see an American identity. That's what I would like to see. Not racialized identities within America with nothing unifying that transcends race. I just think this. I think that I don't even want to call it thinking. The wish fulfillment fantasy coming out of the left is going to be looked back. If it doesn't destroy us, it's going to be looked at as one of the most bizarre times in our human. Like, how could people think this crazy shit? Have they not met a human being? Have they not? Because the people in the future, I know you think you're going to re-engineer their nature, but they're going to have the same human nature, and they're going to look back and they're going to wonder what was wrong with y'all. Hey, Kane. What's up? Yeah, me too. Like, I don't know any other way. My brain, if you put five people in front of me, my brain is going to notice five distinct humans. They all have different names, different backgrounds, different genetics. I would have to get to know them over time to unify them into some sort of category, and that would emerge from my experience with them. It wouldn't be based on their demographics. I just think that is humans are capable of so much more complex and advanced thinking. That's like child thinking. That's like Sesame Street level thinking. And I don't want the adult world to be operating at a Sesame Street level. So I'm going to fight it every chance I get. Right. And I think people that travel and leave America have a sense of exactly what makes them American in relation to the rest of the world. And because I got that leaving Louisiana and coming up here, I didn't really know what a Cajun identity was or ethnicity. I had never had to think about it before. It was just a part of me, but I didn't know what it meant until I encountered a culture that wasn't, and then I could see all the ways I differed from that culture and all the things, and that was the Cajun part. That was the Cajun identity, that being coming into consciousness because it had something to contrast itself with that it didn't have before. And I think that's one way to find the American identity is to travel or live abroad and to see what is it about being American that sticks out when you're in all those other places. But I don't have a way of knowing what that is because I have never left the country. It probably won't ever. But if any of the rest of you have, I would love to hear your thoughts on what your sense of an American identity is. Um, all right, I have a little AI thing I want to go over. I was thinking about communication styles because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a way to clearly communicate the conversational norms for this channel. So I guess people can be less frustrated if they manage their expectations ahead of time. And we talked the other day about the turn taking conversational style, and these are cultural that some cultures use, and then the more, I forgot what they called it. Oh, well, let me look. But there was one that was more like overlapping. There's this thing called cooperative overlapping, and Jewish culture was one example of it, but Cajun culture as well. Why can't I find this article? Well, anyway, there's like two styles. Oh, because it was AI. Uh, Wait, how do I see? All right, oh, never mind. Um, well, anyway, it's somewhere in my AI. But anyway, there's two conversational styles. One is turn take. It's more like sequential, and the other is more like simultaneously. This is definitely not a turn taking space. So if you come from a turn taking style and you come here expecting everybody to talk one person at a time, I would say two things. You're in the wrong place and you have never watched a single panel in the YouTube panelverse because none of them work that way. I think it's a manipulation tactic, maybe not consciously, but all it does to me is serve to hijack the conversation about something completely irrelevant to this channel. People interrupt here. Fight for the mic. I'm not babysitting people's conversations. You're all adults. If interrupting bothers you, don't come here. I interrupt all the time. Um, Also, a lot of people that come over here and complain about the interrupting are some of the biggest interrupters on the panelverse. So there's that too, that self-awareness thing. The thing I want to talk about today is a different type of communication style, differences. It's the people that communicate to kind of guard or protect themselves, and there's people that communicate in a way where they're trying to uncover and reveal themselves. And so I want to explore that. I asked the AI, can you talk about the motivations and communication styles and strategies of people who communicate to protect or hide themselves and those who communicate to express and reveal or disclose themselves? Motivations, communication styles, and strategies of protective and expressive communicators. Protective communicators, it says these individuals often communicate with the primary goal of self-preservation or the protection of others. They do so out of fear, insecurity, or desire to maintain control. These are all very foreign states to me normally. They're not my normal state. Fear, this might be fear of rejection, failure, vulnerability, or judgment. If you're scared, I wouldn't come here. This is not this is like the you have to be this tall to ride this ride space. Um, Rejection, failure, vulnerability, or judgment. You're going to get all of that here. You're going to get judgment, rejection, if not from me, from somebody else on the panel or in the comments. You're going to fail. You're going to bomb at certain points. I know I have. And you're probably going to be pushed or challenged. Your vulnerability is going to be challenged. Another reason could be trauma, past experiences. I've talked about those emotional flashbacks before. When people say they're triggered in a PTSD or trauma way, that's usually what's happening. Sometimes what people notice is defensiveness or like I don't know, getting escalated or that's exactly what it is. It's getting triggered. It's in the midst of this conversation. I'm reliving past conversations that were similar and bringing up similar emotions, so it compounds. And then cultural or societal expectations. Certain cultures or social groups may emphasize conformity and the avoidance of conflict. And I would say if you're from one of those groups, please understand very well that we are not from that group. So our norms are going to be different, and I'm not changing my norms to fit yours because this is my channel. I'm trying to get this channel calibrated to my norms, so I could leave it there. Their communication styles and strategies often involve avoidance, trying to sidestep conversations or avoid expressing their true feelings. Minimization, they may downplay their emotions or problems to seem less vulnerable. Rationalization, they may justify their actions or beliefs to avoid facing uncomfortable truth. I've seen a lot of this lately. Projection, they may attribute their own negative feelings or behaviors to others. Also, a lot of this lately. And passive aggressive behavior. They may express anger or resentment indirectly through sarcasm or sabotage. Or, what else? Trolling. Okay, let's hear about the expressive communicators, which is definitely what I am and what I strive to be even more of. Because my motto is transparency creates trust. And so these individuals value open and honest communication as a means of self-expression and connection with others. I'm going to read this line again. It's one of my favorite quotes on community building. Actually, it's not on community building. I use it for community building. From Northrop Frye. I've featured it before. Let me just find it. Here, I'll pop it in the chat too. Genuine speech is the expression of a genuine personality. Because it takes pains to make itself intelligible, it assumes that the hearer is a genuine personality too. In other words, wherever it is spoken, it creates a community. That's been a guiding principle like forever with me. So these individuals value open and honest communication as a means of self-expression and connection with others. That's one, genuine personality, assuming the same in another, theory of mind, double empathy, and attempting to express and connect with another genuine personality. And a side effect of that is the creation of community. And I am a big advocate for the benefits that come from a healthy community. Mental health benefits, personal well-being, social benefits, networking, numerous benefits. So their motivations include authenticity. They seek to be true to themselves and their emotions. Like, I think the struggle here with me and other people is me attempting to be true to my emotions. That is authenticity, and people trying to interfere or restrict that somehow. And I'm going to fight every time, but if it makes me an asshole or worked up or too emotional, whatever, it's just going to be that way because I am my accountability and loyalty is to myself above anything else, to the authenticity and truth and reality of my own self. You could call that Satanism. You could call that mental health, personal growth. So when I'm having an emotion, I'm seeking to be true to myself and that emotion. I'm trying to give transparency and authenticity. And if you're gonna block or interfere with that, then you've put yourself in the adversary position, and we're gonna fight. Connection. They desire to build strong and meaningful relationships with others. That's like oxygen to me, or water. That's so basic to life. I don't even understand who wouldn't want that or seek that out. Personal growth. They believe that open communication can lead to personal development and self understanding. It does lead to self understanding. It can lead to understanding others as well, like mutual understanding. Their communication styles and strategies often involve assertiveness. They express their thoughts and feelings directly and respectfully. I don't care so much about the respect part because that's subjective. If you feel disrespected by me, then you don't have to hang around me. There's plenty of people that could seem to take me in the spirit it's intended. Empathy, plus people these days weaponize disrespect and offense, and I'm like alert to that. So the minute somebody starts um, crying about disrespect, I immediately suspect manipulation or weaponization. Empathy, they actively listen to others and try to understand this perspectives. I do this so hard that I actually get reaction and pushback from the people I'm trying to listen to because they like I ask too many questions and I try to understand too hard and it irritates them. Vulnerability, they are willing to share their fears, doubts, and insecurities. Honesty, they avoid deception or manipulation in their interactions. And active listening, they pay attention to what others are saying and provide feedback. It is important. What one person told me, like a mentor, one time told me, we were talking about therapy and counseling and being a peer counselor and just that dynamic. And he said, listen deeply and empathetically and speak honestly from your heart. That's the core, that is the essence of that relationship and what I do. It is important to note that most people exhibit elements of both protective and expressive communication styles depending on the situation and their individual personalities. Understanding these different motivations and strategies can help us to improve our own communication skills and build stronger relationships with others. So, because this is a neurodivergent community, um, I'm trying to set norms that are of the expressive type because I think that's the kind that leads to the kind of growth that I want this community to help foster, and the neurodivergent norms, which means it's going to be that kind of open-ended, free-form conversational style. It's not going to be turn-taking. That's too structured for most people here. So come with your neurodivergent patience and tolerance if you're going to hang out here, and let's try to, I don't know, be authentic and transparent and learn and grow and understand each other. All right, I'm going to drop the link and we'll get this panel started. Oh, hang on. Before I do that, let me check with some comments. Plasma, good evening. I mean, whatever, morning. Yes. Uh, Joe, alrighty, cool. Sass. Oh my God, I would get that on a T-shirt, but then I'm worried it would make me look gay. All right, here's the link. Hey, Sam. Another thing I think I'm going to start doing as needed. I won't worry about it if it's not needed, but I think I'm going to like assign wrenches on a stream by stream basis, maybe to one or two people and see how it goes, and just keep reusing them that way instead of having permanent wrenches. And then maybe permanent people will grow out of that. But I think I'm going to try it that way first. Um, all right, that's all I got. Wow, that was only 20 minutes. I don't know. I think it's in it. Well, the thing said rejection, vulnerability, failure, judgment, probably shame, probably the emotion of shame, maybe guilt. Um, I don't. Shame is not. I mean, I've felt shame. It doesn't cripple me. I don't feel it often, mainly because I don't care what strangers. If I know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and other people don't, I don't. As long as I know it, I'm okay. I don't care what people that don't know it think. Some of that kind of grew up from being gay. That was kind of the like the gay ethos back in my day. Like if you're not gay, we don't care what you think. We're doing our thing. Like we're not worrying about people that are not us. You can have all the opinions you want, and they did. Many people did. I've heard every opinion about being gay. I've heard many people that were convinced they were more expert on my homosexuality than I was, and told me all the things about it, why it was that way, what I need to do with it. I just ignored all that. It's I listen in one ear and out the other. Like when somebody is babbling on the street to you, you're like, oh, okay, it's nice to hear. I'm gonna go on about my day. I also like I don't every human being is not an equivalent authoritative source. I put weight more on what people that I know and know me say than on total strangers. So I like every single thing some random person thinks about me does not shut my entire life down. It has to be something significant. It has to come from somebody that I've invested in and have a relationship with for me to even start to take it seriously. Really? I think there's an autism version of that currently, where they're trying to make autistic people fit into these behavioral models that don't really fit them just because it makes neurotypicals more comfortable. I never did conversion therapy. I did exploratory therapy. But I remember one time, like, my mom took me to a bunch of counselors for like adjustment difficulties, really, not for gay or anything. But one time she took me to this old Catholic priest. He was a Monsignor. It's like a title in the Catholic hierarchy. He looked like something out of like a Umberto Eco movie. Vinny, oh God, thank you so much. Yes, I keep forgetting. This is my full-time job now. I've got to get paid for this somehow. Um, and so thank you. This helps. This is why I do this. Part of the reason, the practical reason. What was I talking about? The Monsignor. He looked like somebody out of the Middle Ages. He had like a big black robe and all this jewelry, and he looked like 99 years old. He had a big, tall forehead that was wrinkly and big, bushy white eyebrows and uh, blue, steely eyes, and he just stared. He had no warmth or friendliness on his face. He was like a character out of a movie. The only thing he needed was like some big throne to be sitting on. He sat at a desk in his office. And I don't remember anything we talked about. I only went to him once, and I didn't like him. I never wanted to go back. I wasn't even Catholic at that point anymore. But I think sexuality came up in there, and that might have been the only time anybody attempted to have a conversation with me about stigmatizing it or trying to get me to change it. All the other counselors were about trying to understand it and help me be okay with it, and like how could I make it work in my own life. Sometimes, Vinny, and sometimes it'll get you killed or mentally destroyed. So, I think so too. Even in the movies, like in British movies, is that do they use centimeters? Like, hey baby, I got 9 centimeters for you. Or do even to me to get the full dramatic impact, you would even the British people would want to say inches. I've got 9 inches, babe. I can't see him saying I got 9 centimeters for you, bird. What do y'all call them? Lass? I don't know my British. I barely know my English. 3 trips. Well, um, as far as the news goes, it looks like Israel is hitting back pretty hard. In fact, okay, one more time. Let me drop that link from yesterday. This, if you have any interest in Israel at all, or the Middle East, or what's going on, this is the video to watch. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. Um, it's with Benjamin Boyce and King Crocoduck, and I can tell you after watching it, I am even more pro-Israel and pro-Western democracy than I even was before. Pro-American, pro-Israel, anti-paranoia, conspiracy thinking, fear. I'm trying to check out who's in the panel verse. Not really a lot of people streaming right now. Machine TML is live. I guess I'll just wait for the people. Near peer. Oh, welcome back, Joe. You can come up if you want here. Uh, wait, what? Oh, this is interesting. Hebrews live, and I think they're talking about some of the things on this panel. This is interesting watching a panel about this panel live while I'm on this panel. I love the fucking panel verse. Mr. Joe.
Hey, Jeffrey.
Joe Accord. What's up?
Oh, I'm actually in a coffee shop today because their coffee tastes better than what I bought last time.
Wait, do what?
I said I'm at a coffee shop this time because
I was
their
about to
coffee
say I
tastes
love
better.
your background.
Yeah, well, certainly better than my shabby, like bachelor apartment, right?
Oh, yes, I hope to get out of mine at someday. My group home. What are you? So you're like live streaming from a coffee shop? That is way too cool.
Yep. Um, Enough people here are chatty that I don't think it'll be too different than me just talking here. Um,
Sitting at a table talking to yourself.
exactly. They're
Yeah.
on the they're like got things on. They're talking on phone calls or with each other. So
That's how Seattle is. Like you would not stand out at all.
yeah, I noticed that there's been a shift over the last decade from when coffee shops almost used to be like libraries where people were very quiet to people usually talk quite loudly at them, and that's normal. There's only like it's certain coffee shops where people remain quiet.
The ones in New Orleans were very social, and then I came up
Mm.
here and they give you stink eye if you try to talk or do anything. I remember this one guy one day came in. I think he was a street person, but he wasn't. He was very polite and civil, and he came in and he sat up at the table next to us, and he took out like a sketch pad and he started doing art. And one of the customers, she was like a Karen. She was a middle class white lady. Started watching him, and I watched her go up to the manager and like whisper something, and then the manager came over to him and he's like,
Mhm.
"Excuse me, sir, we were told that you're disrupting the customer." And I was sitting right next to him, and I jumped up from the table and I'm like, "No, he's not. He walked to this table and took out that pad and started drawing, and that's all he's doing. This lady is lying." And so they let him stay, but they were going to kick him out.
Wow, good on you for standing
They
up for
like to
him.
keep it very middle upper class. They like to keep it like a library. They want their little safe Karen spaces.
That is that's just a terrible thing to do. I mean,
I liked it that there was art at a coffee
here's the
shop and
thing.
bohemianism. That's what coffee shops were for.
Here's the thing. I don't like the word microaggression, but if you had to like coin the word right now for the first time, that would be a perfect example of doing it. The people who like to accuse people of microaggressions do things like that, which are microaggressions.
Yeah, she seemed like a control freak. Like she had to be in a higher control of her environment than is reasonably you can reasonably expect from a public space.
Oh, I see Sam. Hello, Sam. Sam actually said that he remembered me. I saw in one of the comments before, but I don't recall
Oh,
Sam right off the bat. Was I familiar with Sam, or did he
I'm
have like
not
a
sure
different
who
name?
Sam is. I think he showed up in like this latest little group that started hanging
Okay.
out here. But there was like a collection of former communities that kind of fragmented, and a lot of them all found their way over here at one time. So it was like a whole cluster of new people, and I think he was part of that.
Okay. Was he like? You think he might have been from like Hall's scene?
I don't think so. Sam, are
Okay.
you from PF Jung at all? I only know you from recently.
Yeah, and so Sam, again, it was like 9, 10 months ago that I did anything with you. So it's interesting that Sam remembered me because
Oh,
that
maybe
means he
he's
would have been
been
watching.
watching longer than I realized.
Yeah, maybe he's been a lurker for a while before he revealed himself to you. Maybe he watched for a while. He's like, oh, I don't know if Jeff will like me, and then when he finally got over that,
It is a coin toss. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, because you have this, you never know who's watching. Part of your audience is people you'll never know who's watching. You'll never know them, and so that's one layer of audience. But then I also have hate watchers. So there are people that will restream my show to their channel and then comment on it the whole time, and they have audiences that they stream to for like some of them have thousands. Like there's one that has like 33 something audience members every day that he streams my show to, and they all hate watch together. So I have
That
those
is
like little
fascinating to
audiences
me.
too, my little hate watcher audiences.
That is like totally fascinating to me. That is just they want to spend their time doing that.
There's hate watching and there's lolcow. There's people that are they kind of like to punch down, and it kind of gets out their sadism as aggressive, and they hate bond over it. So like Mike that comes up here is a lolcow, and they follow him all over the panelverse, and wherever he's on, they watch him and they try to find little ways to make fun of him and catch him in lies and pick him apart. So that's like a hobby, and there's whole channels that will hate watch locales together. They'll make clips. They'll share videos about his like one day he picked his nose, so there's a viral video of him picking his nose. That kind of stuff. That is an actual hobby and a genre on this channel. I mean, on this YouTube.
Okay, so wait, is that the same mic that was in with us when I
Yeah,
popped in?
yeah.
Okay.
Sam, you that no, wait. Okay. See
There's a
what's
gray
happening here?
sound.
This
Yeah,
is
there's a
called
gray
a
sound.
bit. They're doing a bit.
And then Super is there too. Man, I don't mind the humorous trolls because it is pretty
Yeah,
funny
I don't either.
sometimes.
I appreciate a good trolling. It's the malicious trolls that I'm trying to babysit. But they swarm. If they get a person on here that's on their hit list, they'll all come and swarm the chat. I need to
What you should
find
do
out
is
how
have
to
a button
figure
that you
out.
push so that when Super comes in, it does a soundbite of under
Oh,
my
Mary Poppins.
umbrella, Ella, Ella. No, do that. Not Mary Poppins, Rihanna song.
Oh,
If
Umbrella.
you do that, yeah, if you do that, Super will get such a dopamine fix. You'll have a loyal fan forever. Super might actually pay to subscribe.
996. You'll have to do it once a month.
Hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out which Sam is the real Sam. So,
I think Green Sam is the real
um,
fan because
one of them has 38 subscribers, and one of them has
just
two
pay for
subscribers, which tells
it.
me Samsonite himself is probably a sock account of somebody else. Um,
Sam, it's just said, please pay, please block my video. It's paying you to block my.
I am thinking that so it's looking like the green one is the real Sam.
Yeah, because
So
he'd
this
be a
other one is
supporter.
the fake Sam pretending to be the real Sam, asking me to block the real Sam.
Yeah.
It's gonna come to the point where we're all gonna have to have secret passwords and code words to
Mhm.
identify who the real person is.
Yeah. I think we have enough backstory because when you and I first got acquainted, there wasn't all this stuff going on. I noticed that when you had your streams, they seemed to be much more vacant. So you've really actually picked up quite a bit of momentum in the past 9 months. If you've got like these hobby trolls coming in,
Yeah.
um,
And we
Wait,
had
what?
some trolls of our own. So I had some resident trolls that would hang out here and troll me and troll the chat, and they were very entertaining. They were hilarious. They were witty. They were a great addition to the Panoverse. So I welcome those kind of trolls.
Mhm.
They made it fun.
If I can't speak
Yeah,
for
I
more
will. I
attention, is
just
that
need
bad?
to figure out who. You need it. We need to find a way to communicate that I'm blocking the right account. I'm pretty sure that the one with the membership on it is the real Sam.
Yeah, I would hate to think that someone would become a member um, just to get an actual audience member banned as a troll joke.
That do what?
I said I would hate to think that a troll would actually spend money to get an actual audience member banned by pretending to be
They
like
do.
the real
They
Sam.
do. The trolls have
That's like
spent so much money on this channel trying to disrupt it.
at least you make money from the trolling, right?
That's my consolation.
Yeah. They can pay the asshole tax. I mean,
Right. I'm trying to learn capitalism. I'm really bad at it. This is the
no,
first time in my life where
now,
I
now
feel
to
like
be
I have
fair,
a hands-on chance to learn capitalism.
now what you got to do is you got to see how much you can how much pricing power you have. You got to see how much you can increase the price for um I guess whatever like a membership or something you have
Well,
to
it's
register as
one time
trolls.
people were coming here wanting to rent a wrench for the day at $20, and then one person bought wrenches for other people. So I made quite a bit on these wrenches, and so I
Oh,
now the wrench price is $20. You can rent a wrench for 24 hours for $20, and that's
Rent
valuable
would
to
mean
some
you're a
people.
channel mod, right?
Yeah, but after that, I found out that there are people out there that pay like hundreds of dollars for wrenches, and that $20 was really cheap. And for me to let them go at 20 was
That's what I was
very
thinking. If
under
like
market.
if you can start snapping them up at 20, right? Like if you do it to 50, um, you can get more money probably for something that's also more manageable then too. Like so this is actually an interesting example of why price control is important. Because so that channel I mentioned before, Technicals, his most recent video was about this scam in the gaming community. Basically, it's making custom controllers because custom controllers will make things easier for competitors for the types of moves they want to do when they're playing. And there's this one girl who had like a bunch of unfilled orders going back 4 years, and these are like controllers that cost like hundreds of dollars. And she never refunded people or not sent it to them or was not really giving them updates. And um, I commented on the video and I noticed that, or I noted that like all she had to do was raise her prices until the volume became manageable. And not only would she have made more money doing that, but she wouldn't have broken any laws by basically stealing people's money. So, there's a good form of capitalism, right? Um, where you
Yeah,
can
like giving
avoid
people
cheating
what they
people.
want. If there's a need or demand and you're able to supply it.
Right. And so if she actually had been greedier with her pricing, she would have ended up not cheating people out of their money. Like the people who didn't get their controllers just wouldn't have, some of them just wouldn't have spent that in the first place. They might have spent
Right.
$200 on a controller. Maybe they wouldn't spend 500 on one, right? So they would still have their money. So when you asked me, yesterday about whether capitalism can be used for good or bad, there are ways, there are subtleties like this that can get very different results.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
what's up,
Mike.
everybody? What's up,
What's up?
everybody? How's it going? Good to see you,
Good
Joe.
morning.
Hello.
Joe's gonna become a regular. Joe, it was really kind of
Well, he
funny.
used to be a regular. He's returned.
Yeah.
He's
It's
Yeah,
this
funny
is
I'm
his
because
back until
homecoming.
I'm bored with it, I guess.
Yeah.
it was. I was listening last night. I was actually, yes, I was working. Yes, I do work, but because everybody says I don't. But that's why I couldn't come back on. But I was listening, and it's like Joe's like, "Is this really how it is up here?" Like it's kind of like a
And this is the
like
Drama Light channel. I keep
yeah.
it managed.
Yeah. So in a way, it was kind of cute to see like someone like really like this is some crazy shit
A
up here,
tourist, a panel tourist.
And then Jeff is
Basically.
like, yo, you ain't this ain't nothing. Joe, I was on drama channels, and I'm talking about I'm fighting 6 people at once. It was wild. So this is much more relaxed, and you'll get a troll or two, but then Jeff does a good job on kind of thumping them out, getting rid of them. That stuff last night with Eric was funny, bro. Lawless, oh, that was funny.
I never got my Cash App, by the way. Eric, you not coming on this channel anymore until I get my Cash App.
He's full of
Start
shiznit. He
charging
came
interest.
home. He knew he was blocked. He knows it, so he tried to slide up under a different name. And then you're like, look, I'll entertain you, but just support the channel. And he didn't.
Well, he
You
offered
know,
that. I would have let him have the conversation anyway because I like to support black people and help
but
them
he tried.
have a
He tried to.
voice in society.
He tried to control the narrative, and you wouldn't let him. You kept kind of, putting the brakes on it. And I love it. I really love it.
Because he's confused. He's part of that very confused crowd.
There's a little group of them there. They're
Yeah.
little chomping at the bit. I
They're not
call them
even
the.
worth really wasting time on, actually.
What I noticed about him is I don't even think he's necessarily like dishonest or something. I just noticed he seemed to start to get an adrenaline rush, and then his mind would go that way, and you would have to reel him back in.
Well, Joe, it's. I've been on panels with him probably a couple hundred times, and it's an unhealthy character. It's a character, but it's unhealthy. It's not like a fun character, like when someone comes on and they're like, "There's."
Oh, you don't think that was real? You think he was doing a bit?
I've heard him sound completely different voice. I've heard him
See,
different
you never
perspectives.
know. You just
Yeah.
never know.
So, I mean, I think a lot of that's embellished for shock value. A very, very Howard Stern. Does that make sense to you, Jeff? Like,
It does, except I never really watched Howard Stern, but I know who he
yeah.
is.
So
But
Joe
I
knows
don't know his show.
it's shock value to get a reaction, and him trying to corner you on things you didn't say. I didn't appreciate. I wish I would have came up, because if I would have came up, it would have been World War III. Because
And
I would,
there's people that will coordinate on Discord or behind the
yeah,
scenes, and they will plan their interactions on the
they
stream.
had,
So
they had,
sometimes it's a coordinated production that's being made to look organic. There's two types of content. There's organic and inorganic, and
yeah,
it's
and
really hard to tell sometimes what's what.
they keep saying this thing where they keep saying that they're going to sacrifice me. So basically, what that means is that they're going to lambaste me everywhere they go. Well, hey, join the club. There's about 1,000 people that do that already.
Well, they're
But
not going to do it here.
you have to be careful when you say sacrifice, because you're implementing or you're suggesting
I know, but
violence.
we already know they're violent. They have that violent,
Yeah,
raging
yeah.
id that's
And
itching to come out. You see it in their
yeah,
videos, their art,
they're
all the little
seething, right?
people that
Yeah,
hate bond with each other.
yeah. Jeff, would you call it seething, like an underlining, like
Yeah.
etching to get out?
I would call it like emotionally stunted or underdeveloped. They're
Mm, yeah.
like morally crippled children.
Joe's like talking about like monetary gains and stocks and bonds, right? And then you got Eric talking about, at one time I got beat in Alabama. And Joe was like, yo, what else? Joe was like, why am I here right now? I could see it on his face, like, no. But yeah, it was
Well, now
funny.
I'm
That
thinking.
was,
Now I'm thinking, how does Jeff monetize people like
Right.
yeah,
him?
He's
yeah,
now that I got the money guy here, he's
Okay, like
helping.
if you have people who will like hate watch your stream and restream it somewhere, it's like
yeah.
you have something of value, and so you gotta squeeze some cash out of it. I'm thinking like, okay, how much is Super willing to pay for you to invent a umbrella Ella button that you push
Yeah,
and it makes that sound, right? If a Super
yeah.
paid you $100 to make that button, and then you would push it whenever you wanted to
Sure.
during the stream, like, is that worth it? $100?
Yeah, I would
Is that a
totally.
good idea?
Like I've told people when we got monetized to be creative. I will entertain any suggestions. Just be creative, and some people did suggest creative things. They also have some channels that do like a menu. They have a menu, and you can pay to mute people, you can pay to kick people, you can pay to have two people fight for a certain amount of time, etc. So some people come with little
Well,
channel menus of services
they're
that
they're going to hear this. They are going to hear
people
this.
like to pay to interact and influence the
They're,
experience.
they're going to hear this, because they clip and post everything that we say on your channel, Jeff.
Yeah,
Everything.
I assume.
But the thing is that,
Okay.
so if Eric, you owe Jeff, I'd say Jeff at least $15-$20. I mean, at least the amount of time you
He's
gave
not
to
gonna.
him.
I know he's not gonna pay.
But if he
You think
does,
somebody
but
like
no, but check this out, Jeff. Check this
that
out,
was
brother. Check this
comp. That
out,
was my tithing for the month.
Jeff. Check this out. If he does hook you up and takes care of what he said he would, I will debate him on your channel for money. I will sit there and debate them.
Oh,
Yep. Because they
okay. I'll
bro, they
take that
want
deal.
they want at me so bad, and even Cheesehead, he
Eric,
came up.
this is your chance for a chance at Mike Cerrone if you send me that Cash App.
Come on up. You let Cheesehead roast me for free, so you have
I
to.
didn't know that y'all had beef.
Oh my
I
god,
don't know who
it's all
there's several categories with you. There's
right.
people that have beef with and they
Yeah,
come on here to attack you. And there's people that have beef with you but they come on here and try to participate in a
that's
civil
it.
conversation. And
Right.
sometimes one side or the other can't always maintain it, but there are people that make a good faith effort to put that
Yeah.
aside. And I can't
They-
ever tell. And then there are some people that have no problem with you at all. And I can't ever tell which person is what category with you.
So here's what you
and
need to
that's
do,
why
Jeff. For
that's
every like
go ahead.
week that Eric doesn't cash app you what he said he would, you need to start calculating interest, and then the amount grows if he ever
I'm not
wants to
ever going
come
to
back.
see it anyway, so I'm
Not
yes, you're
here's what
right.
you do. You make it
If I
clear.
took him seriously, you're right.
This is the thing. This is the
Jeff,
thing. You 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 make it clear what his running balance is, and then if he does show up, he's not going to pay. But another troll in the comments wants to see him appear. You can be like, well, hey, here's what he
Oh,
owes.
they
If
might
you
pay
want
his
to
tab.
cover his debt for him, right? Yeah, right. This is what you do. This is how you squeeze
But then it becomes
every
like a blood
drop that you
sports
can out of it.
channel instead
Joe,
of a mental health channel. The other
Well, that's why
option
you
I
set a
have
high
is
interest
I
rate.
have membership tiers and I can create different levels of membership tiers and create additional content
So
for
do like
different tiers that
a
people would
usury
pay for.
rate. So like he accumulates 10% interest compounding every week he doesn't pay, right? And
yeah,
and then it can get quite big if it and then it could
yeah.
be a $20 deal could become a $50 deal in a few months.
There is
I'm going to
and
own
Joe,
him soon. That's really going to be racist.
the one thing that irritates the living piss out of these other channels, and that's why they listen. Let's just call it like it is. Listen. This is me talking, not anybody else. They're obsessed with our synergy. So we have a synergy here, right? We all play off each other. Like there is no reason in hell why a Roman Catholic Italian guy, straight guy from New York, should be friends with a Satanist sassy man in
There is in the
Seattle.
modern world, like
But,
my
but
whole life has been different people being friends with each other.
yes,
That's a
but
Gen
Jeff,
X thing. Like look at the real world and all our TV shows of random
but Jeff,
people all getting along.
on the outward appearance, we should get along, and us breaking the
I never
norms.
thought that. I don't
I'm
judge on
just
outward appearance anyway. So
I'm trying to analyze where their hatred's coming from. They see a bunch of people from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different ideologies that come on a panel and actually have fun. They can't do that because they can't get out of their own way. They can't drop their own hatred. They
well,
can't drop.
if we have that synergy, let's just keep it
Yeah.
going
No, we
and not.
have it.
I know,
But
but like
Jim,
right now, let's like
no,
not hijack it with their shit.
no
Are
problem.
any of
I
these
just
like
think, Jim,
these trolls employed or whatever? Like are they just on the internet all day long every day?
Yeah, some of them are shut in, some of them have no lives.
Okay.
well, a lot of
They
them.
call it digital drug addiction. I have a little bit of it too, but
So
I'm
what
trying to
So
are they
do mine
living
Joe,
on
constructively.
are they living
so
on some
Joe,
kind of
some
like a government handout or something? Um
yeah.
okay.
A lot of them.
Don't
So
really know.
Joe, I'm able to. I'll be very careful what I'm going to say. I'm able to figure out who people are through different avenues and help from other people. Repetitive language, repetitive typing, and then kind of like inside information from other people that they piss off. So then that person will contact you and say, "Hey man, you know who that is, right?" Like they kind of rat on people. Because all these trolls do is they like you, they hate you, they like you, they hate you, and then people get pissed off and they will blow the whistle. Someone will rat on somebody who they really are. And that's the craziest thing that I see on this whole troll game. But Joe, there are some trolls that will never cam up, that will never come on panel. That tells me that's an insecure person with a fake account. Because anybody of any kind of common sense and wants to show or speak their opinion, they're going to come on panel. And Jeff is cool. You have to cam up behind the scenes, but you can come up with an avatar. That's fine, but you can't stay anonymous in the chat and be taken seriously. Does that make sense, guys?
There's somebody backstage called STL that's walking a dog. I'm not sure who
So
they
here's what you
are.
do.
Um,
Here's what you do, Jeff. Remember when I said for you to have effective moderators, they would need to be paid?
Yeah.
Okay, and then also I said you can work an asshole tax into the trolls, right? What you do is you make Mike one of your professional moderators, okay? And then when they pay the asshole tax, he gets a commission, right? And um, just do that long enough, and you're making more money, and Mike's making more money, and you're getting the best out of the trolls for your channel.
yeah. And one
Okay,
of the
now I
biggest.
just need to make sure it's actually STL. So far, they're just walking a dog. It seems okay.
Is it walking across a field?
Kind of down a dirt road with a
Yeah,
little
just like
dog.
walking across like grass, a field. Is it
Oh, they.
looping? Is it looping? Is it looping?
Dr. D had said, none of you, comma, people can be taken seriously. Anyway, so what's the point?
Hi, STL. Are you there?
Hi. Yes, I'm
Hi.
here.
I'm enjoying your walk.
I'm enjoying it too.
Wow, that's. Is that like a park? That's a boardwalk. Are you in the swamps?
Yeah, kind of.
Wow.
Looks like a nature reserve.
They have those back home, the boardwalks over the swamp. I love
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. I'm in South Carolina.
Hmm.
Wow.
Give you kind of a reference point.
Hang on, let me blow this up.
Yeah.
That's when
Awesome.
he blows it
I
up.
love this. Look at the
We
palm.
got
Oh,
these
yeah.
live oak trees with the Spanish moss.
Oh, you taking me home. How sunny.
Hmm. That's where I go. I'm going to walk and
Ooh.
makes me feel better
Oh yeah.
for
Nice.
my mental health.
Yep.
Instant morale boost. When you touch grass and you get out in nature, I mean, there's nothing else like it.
Now we can all touch grass together virtually.
Let's touch some grass real quick.
That's it. Just don't smoke
Oh,
any grass when
virtual
you
grass.
do
So I'm curious about one thing, Jeff. That we've talked a lot about the trolls here, but who are like regulars that are real go-getters, right? So not insecure. If they are online all the time, it's because they made something for themselves and
There's
they
not a
can
lot of
control their time.
go-getters. There's a
Okay,
lot of
I didn't
potential
think.
go-getters, but they have a hard time translating it into action consistently.
So those are the people that are really worth our attention. Is entertaining. First of all, we find a way to monetize the trolls, so that the business can become one where the potential go-getters really flower. That's the game here.
Well, I think even the trolls, and you probably agree with this, they have quite a deal of charm and charisma about themselves in order
Oh
to
yeah,
be a
super in
effective
particular.
troll. Yeah, so they're not lacking. They have that going for them. Is that, but
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity and
they
intelligence.
need to
Like
put it to better use, so to speak.
harness the troll. Mike is a reformed troll. Mike used to be
Oh
one of the
yeah.
Oh,
trolls.
Oh, he's a
okay. I
reformed
can see
troll.
the
Okay.
signs actually. Recovering troll, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a playful troll. I've been trolling
That's
since
oh,
AOL.
that's how Mike can figure out who people are. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio in Catch Me If You Can.
It's funny because they make fun of me, right? They make fun of me. Even KFAR and some other people said, like some big channel owners are like, Mike is really good at the circular troll. So the circular troll is to keep taking people round and round and round, and they just get so frustrated. It's hilarious, But there's an art to trolling, But like I said, I don't want to troll. I just want to come up and hang out with and have fun.
I
That's what
think
I
you're
want.
better that like to me
Yeah,
you add more that way than
yeah,
with the trolling because anybody
yeah.
can troll and what you're
Yeah,
doing
you're right.
takes
No,
way
you're right.
more than just
And
what the
there's
trolls bring.
there's some terrible trolls. They're not funny. They're not witty. It's like,
Yeah, we saw a few
okay,
last night.
yeah.
STL, do you have a channel you want me to add?
You can if you want. I usually go on YouTube, Big Brick,
Mm.
but
Big Brick. Oh, okay, yeah.
Big
you
Brick.
might have
I
seen
think
Two
I know you
X's,
under
right?
that name actually.
Two
mm,
X's. Two X's.
two seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been
All
on
right.
panels with STL. STL's funny. He's actually funny as shit. He's actually fun to have on panel.
Is it BRICC?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I got it.
Oh, two C's. My bad. I thought it was two X's. My bad.
Here's STL's channel, everybody. You can give him a watch, like, subscribe.
That's
So
it.
what you have going on today, STL?
Oh, it's working. I'm on a little lunch break walk thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I want to look at it from a different perspective, I guess. Like what, and maybe others need to do this too. Is like, what do you want to get out of this? Like,
Hmm.
there's, I've been, I guess, in the community, or I don't know if you want to look at it in broader terms, is social media um, for quite some time, and there's been trolls for, I don't know, maybe since the BBS days, I imagine, right? IRC, there was trolls back then. What what makes it different now? You, there's some
I
few
think
things,
the
but I guess the underlying issue is, people just want to. They have the technology allows them to kind of say and do what they want without very little real life repercussions.
Yeah. No, and that's a good point. The the ability to access deep personal information really did change the trolling game. It really did change the trolling game. But the problem is that for them is that there are certain states now passing different cyberbullying and cyber harassment laws. So there are some things in the work where people are harassing people to where people are getting mentally broken down over like internet words, internet stuff. And I've had people call my home, send me emails, call my previous employers. And I don't do that kind of stuff. There's no need for that, but it's just, there's a lot of people that are just very vindictive, STL, and they don't know how to stop. They can't, once it, like the ball's rolling, it's like a snowball down the hill, they can't stop it and say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm just going to move on to something else. And they can't stop. What do you think?
I, I don't know. I look at trying to look at from time. Like our grandparents didn't call people on the telephone and troll them, right? Is there something to do with online social media that allows that to occur, or people are able to do that?
Yeah,
Like doxing wasn't a thing
yeah.
50, 60 years ago.
And someone had called a former employer of mine and did it online on a live stream, and they lost their channel. And it wasn't even me; it was the business that I used to work for. They're putting the business online with the people's voices, and like it's like, what are you doing? You know, I- bro, I don't know, man. Calling
But
people's family
there's gonna
members,
be a greater number of people that will watch that because it's
yeah, that's
you
fine.
know controversial and
Yeah,
provocative, and oh my god, these people are going real life.
yeah.
You can't
And
look away. It's like a car accident.
the struggle is I know who these people are and who their family is and where they work. So I'm taking the stance of not going that way and letting it blow over, just ignoring it. But sometimes, in some circumstances, you have to stand up and do something or say something. So it's a slippery
Yeah,
slope. So STL,
everybody has their limits.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. STL, you know me. I started in the drama community. I started over Vegas Valley, one of the worst places you could start out at. And and it taught me to be just a vindictive a-hole. And I'm just glad to be away from those kinds of channels, bro. I like it here. I like going to Chaotic Truth. You've ever seen Chaotic Truth? Another
I,
great channel. He talks about politics and race relations and relationships and stuff like that.
mm,
Um, there are channels you can go to that are fun. Like we're joking around, a bunch of dudes are laughing and kind of ribbing each other, but we're not like calling people's houses and their jobs and threatening to take them down. It's like we don't do that kind of stuff. So I
but
just want away from this.
what do you think? Is there a commonality to make a person go from being a troll to being
Mhm.
a, you know, I don't know, a real life troll in a way, or messing with people's real life?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Is it
I think
major
misery loves.
insecurity, or is it
opportunity,
Yeah,
is it
temptation.
And they do it, and they don't do it singly. See, they don't do it one-on-one. They'll do it in a group.
Yeah,
You know,
there's entire troll
Okay.
groups that
yeah,
coordinate
Yeah,
together.
I trust me, I've seen them.
yeah.
I've seen them in action, and yeah, I think that there is a dynamic to. It's like, oh look, I'm going to do this in front of a bunch of people, because I see that more so than just individuals acting alone. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
But STL, how many times have you seen it, in your opinion, where when they run out of people to attack, they attack each other? They
I,
start
I,
attacking each other.
I'm the
Yeah,
new locale. Like you, I'm now like your locale protege.
sure.
Now they're hate
Yeah.
watching and localing me because of you.
So,
But
well, remember,
don't fall into the trap though. I mean, that's
I'm
what you
not.
have
It
to
doesn't
do.
bother. I've been localed and hate watched my whole
I
life.
know, but then I kind of
So
joined in when you kind of what should
I
we
do have a
do as far
question.
as like
Wait.
go
Let
ahead,
me hear STL real
go ahead.
quick.
Like,
Okay.
No,
what do
go
you
ahead.
want to do? Like, how do you want to grow your channel? And you kind of have to think about it that way. Don't let the trolls dictate how you want your channel to become. Because I've seen it
Oh,
where
they're not.
people will come, oh, I want to have a
I'm doing
channel.
with Joe. I'm trying to exploit them. That's all I'm trying to figure out. They're not gonna mess up what I'm trying to do here. The mental health
All right,
stuff and the autism stuff always gets prioritized.
all right.
yeah.
Yeah. So my question is, it's kind of for Mike. If the trolls, have a lot of their attention on you as they clearly do, because again, I don't really know you. What is there to you that they think is worth, trolling with you? Because I mean, trolls usually, trolls don't go after people who have nothing to do or nothing to say generally, right? So, like, what's your deal? I guess is a way of asking that question.
Sure. I think the why, and it is, and I think Jeff will agree, they are obsessed. There's an obsession there. It's not like I love to make fun of this person. They literally think about me day and night. They will make entire channels about me only and edit and cut and chop. And it's like, the amount of time it takes.
He has a GIF made of him.
Yeah.
You could look him
Yeah.
up, and
Huh?
he has his own GIF.
So this is the thing. The reason why is because I flip. I will have a good conversation, a wholesome conversation, then flip to trolling, then flip back to the conversation, then flip back to trolling. And they can't figure out how that's possible because they're one-sided. They are hate, 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 right? And then there's other people that are love, 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 love. You can be both. You can be dual. You can not like this person, but be cool over here, be fun. Joe, I know I'm making a long answer for your question. I think it's because they can't figure out where I come from or my personality. They don't know if it's a troll or if I'm really just a multifaceted psychopath. They can't
Okay.
figure it out. And they're ripping their hair out trying to figure me out. I can't figure me out.
I don't know. I don't understand the obsession either. I've never seen
So
anything like it.
you said that like they can't tell when you're being sincere, for example.
Yeah, sure.
Like what topics are there, like topics you're usually covering when you're being sincere that might also be important to them?
Joe, did you ever work in sales or have any
Yes.
kind of psychology? Okay. So do you know about the tone scale?
I don't know about the tone scale, no, but tone is I did sales over the phone, so it's sort of like you become very cognizant of it, and it's almost like you're a professional voice actor who's trying to sell things.
I did it in person. I did it with cars. I did it with the carpet cleaning restoration. I became the sales manager where I would go out and I would get large accounts. Not someone that wants 3 rooms of carpets done. I'm talking about entire hotels. You're meeting with Mr. Patel, who owns 4 hotels at the oceanfront. You get all of his business. You're talking about a lot of money. But you have to match someone's tone. So if we're talking like this, so Joe, you're asking me a question, and I start talking this way. But then if I elevate my speech and start raising my voice, you're going to raise your voice to match my tone. So you're
Yes.
controlling people. You're controlling them how you want to control them, and that's trolling. But when you hear me just flatline and just talk like we're talking right now, and if you notice, sometimes I'll jump in and interrupt people, and a lot of times I'll just sit back and listen. So there are different types of interactions, but I like a good conversation over an argument. But
Me too.
sometimes arguments are needed, to voice your opinion.
I
So
don't know
I
if
know.
arguments are needed. I think there's other ways, like conversations maybe or
Sure,
dialogue.
sure. But sometimes you have a little bit of an aggression. Sometimes you have to let some energy out, some aggression out. But I do believe that when you're able to dictate tones and energies and a conversation, you can steer a conversation to how you want to. As you would say, Jeff, reeling them back in. You got to reel someone back in, and then restart the conversation again. Because left to our own
Yeah,
devices,
redirect.
you got it. We're human. We're going to go off the rails, and if someone doesn't pull us off of the tracks, we're going to keep on going left. So I know it's not really the answer you're looking for, Joe. It's kind of
You
all
have to
over the place.
flash up in the back. It's very
Yeah.
What kind of
suspicious.
sales did you do again?
Okay, so when I first started out, um,
All
well,
righty, got you.
my first real job, I was a busboy. Then as soon as I turned 18, I was a waiter. And then as a waiter, I was able to upsell. Like I got the selling bug. Hey, you want
They
a
taught us
dessert?
that at McDonald's.
Yeah, but you learn how to upsell, and then that was the
I did.
prelude into it. And then I went from there into being a carpet cleaning and restoration technician. I did it for a summer or two, and it was for me, but it wasn't that good of money. I had an opportunity to work for the city. I worked for the city for 5 or 6 years, but then I went back into carpet cleaning and restoration, but as a sales manager, as a guy who goes out and gets accounts, and it was great. And then took a break from that and went into car sales.
I love y'all.
Car
Bye.
sales was
Hey,
great.
Hebrew.
Yeah, Hebrew, what's up? But then when they went to pure price, in other words, you went from making this amount of money to half, because they would come in with the sheets from USAA or the pure price sheets. So all the gross was gone. So then I went back into the carpet cleaning and restoration thing. So I kept jumping between really only 3 different careers. It's not like I've done a million things, but sales is easy when you have a good personality and you're able to kind of a gift for the gab. But the truly good salespeople are not selling freeze-dried steaks out of a pickup truck. They're selling like a Toyota, or they're selling, services that you can back up with quality and things like that. So
Right, the good
yeah,
salesman knows when
Oh,
they
so
don't have a great
you don't
product.
like Mike here. Now I get it. All right, I got the message. Well,
who's that?
he's
Well, here I am.
yeah.
Well, come on up and talk about it. Come up on panel.
No, that's
Talk about
fine.
it.
You're
Well,
not
Mike, maybe what you
everybody's
need to do
content, but
is maybe you need to sell yourself to these people. I don't
Oh,
know. It's the thought.
that would be disingenuous. That'd be disingenuous. Because when I was
Maybe.
selling, I can tell you this: when I was selling Toyotas, I believed in what I was selling. I think Toyota is the best car there is. I believed it 100%. I want to believe in
which
something I'm selling. Believe in it. So I was blessed in that. Best car there is.
Okay. And what do you do
welcome,
now?
which
Thank you, Jeff.
Now I'm a contractor, but I work in restoration and carpet cleaning. But I work for government. It's government housing,
Okay.
government building.
the projects.
Yeah.
And that's a sales role you work in?
More of not sales, more of I guess you would say like a manager, like a foreman, going in there and making sure the guys are setting the stuff right and staging it
Okay.
right and taking moisture levels daily, taking the different moisture levels, because you have to document all
Okay.
the moisture levels on the wall daily for the insurance company, like an
Okay.
adjuster, kind of an adjuster.
All right, cool.
But I will
You
get in
actually,
there once in a while. I'll get in there and rip a wall out with the guys. I'll do it once in a while.
All right, let me get rid of this old skeleton.
Yeah, right on.
It's fine. It's not the
oh,
first time I've heard it anyway.
What's that? What first I
What?
heard? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was commenting on the comment that somebody made
Oh, no
about.
problem. We'll do it. Yeah. So how's it
Yeah.
going? How's it going today? How's everything going?
I've been a lot better.
All
No,
I'm
I
right.
hope you
actually
get
quite
better.
sick. That's the benefit of having a 5-year-old who's in kindergarten now. Is that you don't start to get everything
yeah.
that he gets.
Oh
So
yeah.
I left work early today. I will most likely call out tomorrow.
Oh.
Um, and yeah, so I just thought I'd come up here and say hi and see what's going
You
on
got the,
because I'm
you think you got
tired
the
of just
flu? Maybe you think it's the flu? What do you think it
no,
is?
no. I don't have a fever. It's probably just a regular chest cold, head cold, or whatever.
Oh man.
Probably by tomorrow, my voice will sound even worse than it is, which could be a blessing for some people. I don't know.
The worst ever.
It probably will be for my students. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, you teach?
Yeah, sort of. I'm more of an aide, like a classroom aide.
Yeah.
But I co-teach some things too.
Nice.
Those sinus infections were the worst. You get that drip and the sore throat.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not
I
great.
hate it when you bend over and the pressure, from in your head. Ugh, can't stand that feeling.
I used to irrigate all that stuff out.
Yeah, my son over the weekend, he had like a stuffy nose, and his voice pretty much sounded the same as mine does now. So he didn't go to school yesterday, but he went today, so he's fine. Like I said, he's only 5, so he has much better immune system than I do, who's gonna be almost fucking 40 years old. So
I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Jeff's private security.
Jeff has private security?
No, it's a sock account. Jeff's private security. It's funny.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I do have tea. I should make myself some tea later.
Super Cali, stop the trolling. Stop the trolling, Super Cali.
Throw some honey.
Come on.
Throw some honey in it. It'll help.
Here, let me get a wrench and practice. See how the wrenches do.
Stop the trolling.
If your throat
if something looks malicious or harassing or something that, you know what? I think I will give it to Mike. I will let him decide what he thinks is playful and in good spirit, and what he thinks is malicious.
Everybody's
You're not gonna have anybody left in the chat.
Yeah, you gotta let there be a bidding process.
But it has, Mike. It has to be a comment about you. You can't just mod people because you don't like them.
There's not gonna be anybody left in the chat.
It's umbrella time. Let's go.
Mike, can you type some in the chat so I can grab your name?
You're good.
How you doing, Joe? You doing all right, man?
I'm good.
Right on. How you doing, Spike?
Wait, where's Spike?
He's not a robot.
Oh, Spike!
I hate your face.
I ratted you out. Sorry, Spike.
There you go, Jeff. It's me. I put it's me, so it's all good.
All right. Let's
There
make
you
it.
go. Let's piss everybody off right now. This is great.
Well, we'll see how this goes, because if you this is trust and responsibility. We'll see how you use it.
So Jeff gave me a wrench. So if anybody wants to pay $30.
You're so dumb, Mike.
I'm telling you right now. If anybody wants to pay Jeff $30 right now, Jeff will take my wrench for the day. $30. If not,
you'll give it back for $30?
For $30,
I could just keep giving you wrenches all day for a living.
Because if not, I'm gonna start sniping people. So this is your chance, people in the chat, to take my wrench rate, because I'm gonna start banging you out. It's up to you guys.
See, this is
It
why,
starts at
Mike
30.
should get a commission. This is why Mike should get a commission. Okay.
That's it.
He's being.
I'm going for umbrellas. I'm going for umbrellas and flip floppers next. So $30 can stop it right now.
He is Italian.
So is Witch.
So am I, but I don't act like that.
Yeah. She's Italian.
I love all these Italians.
Yeah. We like you.
I'm not as Italian as Mike is.
There's something about an Italian and antlers. I don't know why we're drawn to antlers. I don't get it.
Maybe that's what it is.
The
They're all showed up
That
at
is
my
an
channel.
interesting comment. Out of context, Vex wrote, and even at the worst of it, I never used a wrench in someone else's room for personal reasons. Interesting sentence. I never thought I would read that.
Even
Welcome
with
to the
wrenches
future.
that I have, I don't normally block or time out people. Unless they try to dox me, which somebody did one time. So I did block them. But I got the permission from the channel owner to do so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. If somebody's getting harassed, I'm going to give them a wrench, and then I'm going to let them decide. That will empower them to manage their own harassment. I won't have to sit here and babysit.
The bottom line is Jeff eats frozen foods, and we need to feed Jeff better. So we need to send Jeff at least $30, $40 so you can get something that's not frozen.
Send him your
Jeff,
basil.
I should send it to him. But Jeff eats frozen food. It's not good for you, man. He needs a cook or something, or a chef or something. He needs Hebrew to come making some Thai food. Burn him out.
I can grow some Thai
Yeah.
food. Actually, I haven't had Thai food in a while.
Oh, Thai food is amazing. Amazing.
That's
Spicy
Thai
though.
food, like a soft shell crab, and I ate the whole freaking thing. Like you can actually eat the shell. That's why it's soft
Yeah.
shell.
They deep fry it, right? They deep fry it in the spices.
Mm-hmm. One second.
Food talk.
Oh, my
People hate me.
microphone is muted. That makes sense now. All right.
Spike, what's up, man?
Oh, hi, Spike.
What's going on, guys? I just came up because I was telling Jeff a few months ago, every fall semester when I worked as an assistant teacher, I'd get sick. Instant cold.
It's like the back to school sickness. As soon as the kids come back and you start the semester, everyone gets sick. All the aides and all the teachers and everybody. Yeah.
Well, according to some people, all I do is just babysit second graders.
That's a very valuable task.
I mean, that's not what I do. The guy just says that to try to undermine what I really do, but he tends to undermine what everybody does, and he's a valet for a strip club, so, I mean...
Or that now you know why he's doing it.
I think I know who you're talking about. He has no right to say anything. He should just be quiet. No,
Hey, Jeff,
working with kids.
What? I actually agree with Mike.
Yeah. I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Him to not be named. I know what you're talking about.
Put it in the private chat, Mike. Put it in the private chat who you think I'm talking about, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Anybody can
I'm
hit
serious.
it and see it.
I'm serious.
See if you're talking
Put it in code.
It's funny
you say that. I'm serious. Like,
is that who it is? Is that who it is?
No, you don't.
Okay, I was wrong. But he does. He actually does that, though. He actually does that. But it's all good.
Just so everybody knows, Mike wrote Ernie Simpson.
I did. I wrote Hebrew Hammer. No, it's all good. Hebrew, was that poppy? What is that? Is that poppy plants? What is that?
No, it looks like clovers.
They're dahlias, Mike.
Oh, what the hell?
They're dahlias.
Some beautiful part of
flower.
Yeah.
Wait, so that guy's name is Hebrew with all the blocks and lines?
Hebrew Hammer.
Oh, it's Hebrew. Hi, Hebrew. I'm sorry.
Tattooed
I
on
didn't
my
know that was you.
or Hebes.
I got 2 of them tattooed on my thighs.
Yes.
My favorite
flower.
flower.
A Hebrew.
Oh, that's very useful, Beck. I didn't realize that. So if new people come up, they can't see.
That's right. If they come up on panel, they won't see. They won't
so,
see.
Mike, we could exchange emails today then. After
the Hebrew Ham. Oh, go ahead.
I put it on there, but I'll put it back there again.
Oh, I didn't see it. You had dropped off before it showed up, and so I didn't catch it.
Backstage.
What's a Hebrew Hammer? Educate me.
I'll wait and put it up there.
The Hebrew Hammer is a FAL 308. It's a battle rifle. You know the free armor. Oh, well, fuck! Oh my god, a bee just flew right into my face. Yeah, it's a battle rifle. It's a right arm of the free world. And it's my name's Hebrew Hammer Operator, so like I operate the Hebrew Hammer, which is a 308 FAL. Anyways,
in real life,
people get No, I got rid of all my guns when I got. I had a lot of guns.
Wow.
I had to get rid of them when I caught all my felonies.
Is it called that because it's used by the IDF or something?
Yeah, it was used by a lot of Well, they used L95s, but they did use a lot of FALs too. But like, it's pretty much like the G3. I don't know if you know the HK-G3. It's like pretty much the best Cold War gun you could get, like besides an AK.
I used the G3 when I played Call of Duty 4. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, yeah. Like the G3's like directly compared to the fucking, like it's like the same thing pretty much, like in battle rifles.
In H&K, right? H&K G3, the smaller version, the 308 rifle, it just did a shorter stock. Yeah, that's amazing.
The FNFAL is the FAL.
Mm-hmm.
And they like HK and FN. They're both companies are in Germany, and they battle so hard to like it's been like a thing for years. They've been battling each other since like the 70s to like put out.
And in Hebrew, you get into the Austrian guns, you get into the Glocks, and you get into the Steyrs. Me personally, the Glock. I think the Glock is the best firearm ever made. I mean, you have a 17, a 20. My son carries a 19.
Yeah, I was gonna go to SDI. That was my dream was to become a gunsmith. I wanted to like join the army and be an armorer, but I fucking ended up getting in trouble and going to prison. So my
It
dreams are
happens.
fucking ruined.
Not always.
Yeah,
Not
I
always.
do.
You
It's all
can
good.
always. Hey, listen. You can join the Foreign Legion, bro, and get a new identity. That's it.
I was thinking about going over to Ukraine and training those motherfuckers and going out and killing. I mean, I used to do a
I
lot
actually
of
thought about that too.
I used to do a lot of CQB training, like pistol shooting and long range rifle shooting.
Sure.
I mean, I know I mean, I know a lot of shit. I studied in a lot of shit, but it doesn't matter unless you put it to use. And like I'm useless right now. I feel like.
Yeah,
How
I
old
kind
are
of thought
you?
about if I'd want to go to Ukraine too and as a volunteer, but then I thought it'd probably not be what I think it is.
Mm.
Well, a lot of people would get into trouble, and they would join the Foreign Legion, the French Foreign Legion. You guys know about that, the French Foreign Legion, where they would go and they would serve and they get a new identity. You get a whole new identity. You're a French citizen, and all your
Yeah, but
yeah.
you have to serve 3 years before you can even try for the Foreign Legion. I know you have to serve 3 years in their army. I think it's 3 years before you can even try for the Foreign Legion, and it's hard to make it too. They put those guys through hell. But I don't know what it is now. That was like 15 years ago. But
Mhm.
I'm 38. Whoever asked that question.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
You're still young, man. You're still a young man.
Fuck no. My knees are shot. My fucking yeah. I'm getting old.
Yeah, mine too.
All of you are young.
Anyway,
Little kids.
anyways,
Are they all younger than you, Jeff? And they're saying they're old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and
They're like
Jeff,
half my age. They're the age of the kids I was probably teaching.
Are they like my
Yeah.
age?
Wait, who are you talking about? Are you talking about me?
no,
Probably
Yeah,
most
yeah,
of you.
I'm a lot older than you probably think I am.
Okay. Are you Gen X?
yeah, some,
71.
I'm an elder millennial. Elder millennial.
they're really spreading that shit.
Kids.
I'm an elder millennial.
Are you all
Mid-80s.
millennials? Except for Mike?
I don't know.
Probably.
No,
More or
85.
less.
I was 86.
My birthday's next week.
Yeah,
so.
those are millennials. After 81 is millennial.
Mine's next month. Yeah.
Yeah. 75, 10 years older than you guys. Yeah.
I'll be
Scorpio.
39 next week.
Hey, Jeff, just for a little bit of clarity, a couple months ago, you were saying when you wrench people, you didn't want them to get blocked. You wanted them to use timeouts. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll let you use your discretion because most of them know how to behave. So if what I do is if it's somebody I think is redeemable, I'll do a timeout. If it's somebody that's their one strike and I'm done, I'll ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. GIF or Biff or GIF. I've seen that too, but I haven't said anything because it's just not my deal. But Samsonite has been using the fucking chat to like dox people's names.
But I am getting rid of this
I'm not bringing it
drama
up.
queen thing.
You see what Sam said? Oh my god.
I don't know what's happening.
Yo. Sam called Tyler a tranny.
Dude, you guys,
Why?
that isn't funny, man.
Why?
I'm gonna time it out.
Mike, what about that synergy that we had?
I don't
That's
even get
not
along.
It
I don't even get along with Tyler.
doesn't count
but,
for people he doesn't like.
Yeah. Oh no,
fucked up.
that's not cool. That's not cool.
See, I gave him a wrench and now he can't focus on the panel.
It's not letting me. I'm
Just one another.
Here, I might have to. I need somebody that's not on panel that can like keep an eye on chat.
I
So
can,
what's
well,
like?
I think I can open a second one and I can bang it from there. But yeah, Sam needs to be timed out. That's not cool.
Who's Sam? Sam?
Samsonite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Sam,
Oh,
you knew he had a
oh.
wrench.
Oh.
You knew what you were risking.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
You fafoed.
I'm almost ready to go. I'm gonna go out to my ponds and walk my dog and go live and walk around the ponds for some people that I said I would do it for.
Oh, cool. Here, I'll drop your
Just waiting for my
channel.
dog.
That sounds
Don't
cool.
do that.
Can we stream it?
Go ahead. But Sure. Yeah,
Maybe
it'll be
we'll
a
watch
minute,
you
but
walk your
I gotta go
dog.
set it up.
Even people
Here's
with the
Hebrew's
stars
channel.
can be a
He's gonna
fan.
go walk around the pond.
That'll be nice. I
There's
don't
3
like
of
the
them, and
outside.
they're all connected, kind of not connected, but like right next to each other. So I walk around all 3 of them and then come back. But
Yeah, one of your OGs you might want to wrench one of the OGs, somebody who's been around much longer than us.
True.
Yeah, I need to have like a little wrench training class, like a little orientation of kind of the
Of like
sensibility.
what you expect when you give people wrenches.
Yeah, it's because it's kind of just judgment calls and kind of helping people develop that sense.
It's about
Um,
trust too. You trust that.
Jeff,
Yes,
what was
that's
your
the
original
big one.
topic?
hey, did
That
anybody
is
see
What
some
was
the
your
big
original
keys?
one.
You
topic
guys?
when you started this?
I don't remember.
Oh,
Oh, communication
shit.
styles, like people who
Oh, okay.
communicate in ways to kind of hide and keep themselves guarded, and people that communicate in ways to reveal themselves and show who they are.
Oh.
Did anybody find any keys? You guys see my keys? No.
They're under the
Spike.
couch.
Spike, I forgot to tell you. They're in my pocket. No. I forgot to
Oh,
tell you,
okay.
Spike, that that was fun last night. We should do that again soon. And Zat wants to join along and play his bass. He got the whole setup. So he's like
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
he's jamming on YouTube now. So I figured we could all get together and listen to some music and play some music and shit.
We can pretend we're the Beatles, and I'll be John Lennon.
Yeah, like I was thinking we could do like I could stream on my channel, you can stream on yours, and Zat, even if Zat wants to stream on his or whatever, and we can just have like a 3-way collective fucking like music group.
That'd be
It'd be
so
cool.
cool. Hey, if
No,
you do it, will you put in the Discord so that we'll know what's happening?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh,
That's awesome.
It was funny you made
All
that
right.
Beatles joke because I actually had a Beatles song in my head right as you said that.
which
I've been
one?
singing fucking Tool.
I had the
on-
5th Beatle
Yeah.
in my head, thinking you need Hank or somebody.
You were
Now I have the Cranberries in my head.
What song? What Beatles song did you have?
Hello, goodbye.
It's a
I
good
thought it would
one.
be a good song for a moderator going through chat, just to sing while they're offending
That's
people.
good. Yeah, I love it.
Where did Mike go? Is he milking?
Hey,
Where
real
did Mike
quick.
go?
Oh, I didn't even know she dropped. I knew somebody dropped
He
off.
probably
I
had
was
some
gonna say,
technical
Register that it
difficulties
was Mike.
with
I
going
think he
My
got
into
scared.
wrench ran
chat and
away.
panel. Your
He
wrench
got
ran
scared.
away. See, this is what happens, dude.
He got scared of the old witch there. She's
It's too much
we were
responsibility.
I know,
I'm gonna have
right?
to do
Too
it
much,
myself.
too
I
much
could tell.
power and responsibility.
So, Joe, what's going on, man? What's your story? I mean, if you want to say, like, what's going on with you? I'm curious.
So have you seen like, because I've been on like his last 2 open panels. Did you like see me talk
Oh,
about any of that stuff?
Jeff doesn't like me
Um,
that much, but
okay.
go ahead.
Why are you saying
Um,
that? Don't come on a
I'm just
panel
kidding.
lie about
I'm
me.
just kidding. He
Hebrew.
loves me. I'm just fucking
So,
around.
I got acquainted with Jeff last year, so I kind of actually just popped in again yesterday to his surprise, and we hadn't talked in about 9 months. I actually had been on a few of his streams before with him and with Paul Jung, and I remember at the time there weren't nearly as many people in chats. It was much idler. What I do is I'm a stock analyst. I switched into that around the time I stopped doing I was doing more like discussion oriented stuff, like kind of philosophical topics before, but I switched toward being a stock analyst and basically spent the last 9 months getting good at that. And I'm at a point now where I've got a lot more free time because I've basically figured out how to get a certain amount of income with only a certain amount of time put into it. And so I figured, let me check out Jeff's stream again because I just happened to see it pop up on my X feed and see what he's up to now. And
Oh, cool.
yeah, so that's mainly why I'm here.
Cool.
Yes,
Happy
I'm
to
glad
have
you
ya.
are. Welcome.
Yeah, so this is why I am like so ignorant of all the troll stuff and I'm like perplexed by it.
Yeah, he's kind of new to the panelverse.
And why I'm constantly redirecting toward an actual topic instead of going down the troll rabbit hole.
Yeah.
just because it's kind of interesting. But then after a while, it's like, okay, we're going to talk about trolling for 90 minutes.
Right, and we're capable of so much more here because when we get into our conversations, like the troll thing is far less interesting at that point. And
Yeah,
so
but
I
what would
think
Jordan
we have
Peterson
the
say if
ability
he
to
could see
offer
us right
something
now?
more than just low tier trolling.
Yeah, definitely. I just time people out a couple minutes. That's it. Just a couple minute timeout. That's all.
Yeah, that's
No one's
fair, Mike.
banned, no one's blocked. Just a couple minute timeout.
Did
Just
you
listen.
threaten that you could find out who people are?
Did I threaten?
Michael.
What are you
Yeah,
talking
Mike
about?
can click anybody's profile and find out exactly who they
All
are.
right,
It's
let me
just
take that. Wrenches can do that. Let me take that
That's what he
back.
was doing. It don't matter to me.
Oh, that's what he
What are
wanted
you
to
talking?
finish. All
No,
right,
hold on.
I
What are
didn't
you
know. I didn't
talking?
know they could do
Mike,
that.
Mike.
What are you talking about?
Uh-oh.
Are you guys joking?
I don't know what's happening. I was kind of doing something
Well,
else.
Joe's gonna redirect us anyway. So.
No, we're just
That's
joking.
right.
I
Well,
don't know what's
No, but
happening.
you can do that.
it-
You can do that though. But yeah, but we were just
yeah.
joking.
You said the
about-
Here,
original
I'm
topic was
gonna.
like
I'm just gonna.
communication
I'm
style.
gonna. It was an experiment. It did work. I'll figure out another solution.
So what? You analyze stocks. So you look at stocks and what
Yeah.
they're doing, and you just
Jeff,
put
Jeff,
you invest people's
take
money
care of
into it.
What?
No, Mike. Stay,
No,
Mike.
I'm
you're
Mike. I'm
doing
not
it.
talking about you in particular. I'm talking about
Oh,
the
don't
idea
get
of wrenching
Mike.
up
Don't.
people day by day randomly.
Here goes flip
Mikey.
flop Hebrew hammer. Here goes his flip flop. It's
Why are you getting
okay.
mad
It's
at
What
me?
is
Why are you getting mad at
happening
me?
right
It
I'm
was
not
a
now?
fucking
joke.
with anybody. A couple
A
people
simple
said some stuff in
joke.
chat. And we timed them out for a minute or two. That's it.
No, I wasn't
That's
talking
all.
about that. Spike
I'm not
said you could look
No,
checking
we were.
anybody.
you could see
They were
people's
That's
talking
not
about.
emails. Just
They were
saying, like
talking
you can
about
see even
Joe and
more.
his stocks.
Just
right.
chill.
Yeah.
Was it Hebrew that
Slow
asked me
down.
about the about more about what exactly it is
Yeah.
I do as a stock analyst?
You just
Okay.
analyze stocks. You just look at stocks and what they're doing, or what?
That's
So I
back up.
don't really look at what the stocks are doing. I look at what the business behind the stock is doing, and then you can make a judgment call from the stock on that. Because a stock could do a lot of things up and down in a day, but that doesn't really tell you anything about the business. So, mine is more looking at it as like, the purpose of a stock is to have ownership in a business. And so independent of what happens in a single market day, what's the price you'd want to get in on that business? Because, if a stock crashes from $15 a share to $10, for example, but it's really as a business worth $30 or $40 a share, who really cares about that in the long run? So, essentially it's trying to look at good long-term discounted businesses, explain why they should be worth more, and make it clear to readers like why it's a good investment opportunity or not over time.
Joe, do they call that stock speculation? Is that what they call it?
So traders are speculators. So speculators aren't looking at the fundamentals of the investment asset. They're just looking to ride momentum or maybe some kind of news story, and whether the stock is undervalued or undervalued from an ownership perspective isn't important to them. It's just what they're anticipating to be the case with price movements. And that's not really my focus. At most, I'll say, there's a good chance a price will be affected by a certain news event. So if it's a company where their main form of earnings is interest income, like they lend money to folks, so they make money off of interest of their loans, then yeah, changes in interest rates. If the Federal Reserve announces a rate cut, then investors in that stock will react because they now have different expectations about what interest income will be over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not saying I'm not going to do things like, here's a lot of speculators are looking at like support levels and things like that for prices, just based on trader habits. And it doesn't have anything to do with what a business is actually worth. I mean, the essence of it is I try to look at every business, as though it's a hot dog stand. And if you were to buy out somebody's hot dog stand, you'd want to know how much a hot dog stand makes in terms of earnings. And, how much you're willing to pay, or what your idea of like what a good price for that is. So if a hot dog stand can earn like $50K a year, and, you're being offered $100K to buy it out, you make your money back in 2 years. That's not too bad. If you're offered, $1 million, it takes you 20 years to make your money back. You probably don't want to pay $1 million for a hot dog stand that only earns 50K. So just use the same logic for stocks, essentially.
Sure.
Wow. I didn't understand any of that.
If I bought a
That just
hot
might
dog
be because
stand, I'd
my
look into how
brain
much
isn't
mustard
working
costs.
properly today. My brain is quite clouded today.
And since there's
Yeah.
thousands of stocks, there's always, a new one. You can do a thesis about it, and then you can do updates on some as the story evolves. As if a merger happens, or again something like a rate cut announcement, or some surprise news event that there are a lot of companies that were just fine until Russia invaded Ukraine, and then their business model kind of got fucked by that unpredictable event. So analysts sort of, it is the job of an analyst not to keep a long-term focus, but to know what short-term changes are actually worth paying attention to and which ones don't really matter.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, no, that's cool, man. I'm sorry about that little debacle, but yeah, just a couple people said some stuff. You said if anybody said anything crazy, just to kind of time them out. That's what I did.
Yeah, that's good. We could. I'm gonna get your email today,
We
so
don't
we
need to
can
talk
That's
about
all,
it.
that's
do
all right.
like
That's
a
all right.
debrief
No,
later.
it's all right. All your scumbag trolls now are running their fucking mouth.
No, no. I'd rather keep talking
Oh
about
fuck,
stocks.
dude, relax.
We can
Oh my
do this
God.
off stream.
I'm not upset at all.
Chill,
I'm
bro.
good.
You sound upset.
Chill.
Well, I'm not at all.
Drop
Come
it.
on, come on, come on,
Yeah.
come on. Stocks,
Well,
money.
Come
Why
on,
would y'all
come
not
on,
want to
come
talk
on
about
and
money?
touch
That's what. This
me,
is why y'all are not
baby.
gonna. This is bad capitalism.
Jeff has a point. This is why
Drama
I keep telling
over
Jeff
money.
about ways he
You
can
will.
monetize his business here.
Sometimes drama is money. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like if there's going to be drama, find a way to cash in
Yeah,
on
that's
it.
what I'm trying to
Charge
do.
an asshole tax. If I were if Jeff's business were going to have an IPO, and I was going to analyze the stock for that IPO, I'd be looking at his disclosure documents, and I'm like, okay, how is he monetizing the assholes? Because otherwise, he's just got this big liability that doesn't make him any money, and that's how the investor and stock analyst in me would look at it, right? So I'm just applying the same logic
Right.
that I would to what I write articles about to what I think would be wise for Jeff to do in his business.
You give
Joe,
us some good advice.
I might. You and I should talk off stream. You have my wheels spinning.
Definitely.
I like that
Okay.
approach.
Deaf and blind.
Yeah. So
and
when I bring it up,
Can I
I'm not
just
just
say
memeing like,
something?
haha.
Can I just say something without, like, okay, I'm saying this
Getting-
from an observational standpoint, okay? And I don't mean to start anything when I say this,
Here
okay?
we go.
I'm just saying this as an actual fact. Shut up,
I
Hebrew.
can't make
I'm
any
just saying
guarantees.
this is an
but
actual
Wait,
fact.
let me light up
okay?
my cigarette real quick. All right. Go ahead. I'm ready.
Oh, you ready, Spike? Okay. Mike has claimed in the past, correctly, actually.
Is this the mic show?
Will you just let me
just
finish?
hear her. Here, just
hear me out. Just hear
Go
me
ahead.
out. Thank you.
Wow.
Mike has claimed in the past correctly, accurately, that he does bring content to whoever panel he is on. And it's been a couple of years. I've known Mike for a couple of years. I've known Mike since he pretty much came onto the YouTube status in Vegas Valley. Mike has developed a reputation. A lot of people have not been able to look past that reputation because of lack of accountability and taking responsibility for words and actions. So,
But he doesn't owe that to anybody. It's just a YouTube channel.
exactly.
When you hang out with pros. Huh.
But when you have someone like that on a panel, the trolls are going to come whether you want them to or not.
Mm-hmm.
And when the drama is brought to the actual panel, it will bring more viewers and more revenue, basically.
But with that comes the drama.
Right. So it's a question of, is that something you really want to do?
I agree with Tommy here. I think we have better conversations when it's not about drama. And I think the drama is fine to spice things up here and there in between the actual conversations of substance. But I want my focus to be the type of conversations that I have seen all of us be capable of over and over and over.
I believe that to be true.
Absolutely.
I do. I absolutely believe that to be true.
Everybody's smarter than me, though.
Everybody's smarter than you, Hebrew.
I try. I sound like an idiot. Everybody's over here talking like stocks and shit. I'm like, how many Crayolas? I'm like counting my crayons.
That's just a self-perception thing. Stocks are way easier than people make it out to be. It's just there has been this culture that is built around stocks and finance over years to make it seem like it's smarter than it is,
Difficult, right?
largely so that advisors can justify charging a management fee or something. And I don't think it's nearly as complicated as I use high school level math at most for the stuff that I do. Like there are a lot of things that you think you don't understand in investing in finance that you actually do. In fact, you use examples of them that you're familiar with, but you just don't know that they're the same thing. I could point out some examples of that myself, but like it's people have much more of a handle on it in terms of things they do. There are things they do at their own jobs, in video games, that are almost identical to things that people do in real finance, but they don't know it's the same thing because words. People hear words like derivative and they go,
Right.
"Oh God, I'm a
Right.
fucking idiot."
It's a
And
big word.
Like, slow it down, dude.
but like
Yeah,
we
my
know what a
ex,
derivative is.
my ex's dad was like you know, he invested, like, he was like I don't know if that's what you call a broker, but people would give him money and he would invest it in stocks. And he did that like at his house. He always had like a stupid ass headset on and was walking around yelling at people and all the time,
That
constantly.
does
He
sound
was
like a
really annoying.
broker.
He was really annoying, but they made a lot of money. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like too much stress. You're like, people give you money and they expect to get more money back, and you're just like trying to figure that out. Like, and like if it goes bad, it goes bad. What happens if it goes bad and they lose their money? You just like say, hey, fuck off. You lost your money. Like, pay me.
Well, yeah.
Go
What
ahead,
the
Mike.
usual payment structure is people will take what's called an expense ratio. So a certain percentage of the assets they're managing every year, regardless of what happens. Now, in theory, if it's a percentage, then if you grow the assets, 1% of $200,000 is a bigger fee than 1% of $100,000. So long run, yes, you do have
That
incentive to
makes
grow the
sense.
assets, but it's also the case that if you start out with say $50 million in assets, 1% of that, even if it goes down, is still a lot of money, and you're not going to really feel the pain too much if it goes down. And so some hedge funds do a system where they only get paid if they get over a certain return. So some will say we have to
Right.
get at least a 6% return, and then we make 25% of whatever is over that 6%. And so it's more incentive for them to actually get continually good results. And then what Warren Buffett does is he just organized his firm as a C corp, and so he pays himself a flat salary as CEO. He's paid himself like $100,000 unadjusted for like the last 50 years. So it was a lot 50 years ago, but $100,000, if you just for inflation, he's like his
I wiped my
real
ass
income
with
has
100
declined.
grand.
But
Okay.
he owns most of the shares of Berkshire as well. So if he grows the fund, he becomes a lot wealthier that way too. And that's how he's accumulated most of his wealth. He just made his company more valuable. So he by also owning shares of the same fund, in this case the C corp that he's managing, he had the incentive to do well with the other shareholders. And so sometimes that's another thing as well is, will the hedge fund manager actually own shares of their own fund? Will they own like 10 or 20%? Because then they're rising and falling with you and much more incentivized, even if they still use like an expense ratio model to make decisions that will minimize the downside and maximize the upside. And so when you write an analysis, of course, it's more like it's more akin to content creation, right? It's informational, it's educational. You're not controlling what anyone does with their own savings or capital. And so it's just sort of, by the article, almost like if I were writing a column for a paper or something.
Hello, Jeff.
I'm actually
Hey,
gonna
Zach.
hop down. I'm really hungry, so which means I'm
No.
not
Yeah,
away
go
from
go
actually
feed that
eating.
cold.
What's for lunch?
I don't know yet.
Oh,
Will you
bitch.
let us
God
know when
damn
you
it.
eat it?
I know. I don't know yet. Maybe some tuna. I don't know yet.
So,
Get some food
Tuna.
in Connecticut.
What?
Just get some food in Chester, Connecticut.
I'm not in Chester, Connecticut.
Well, then don't get it there.
Hey, untrackable.
But yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
You
Sorry, I
too, Witchy. I
wasn't.
hope you feel
Sorry, I
better.
wasn't.
Take
Thank
care of
you.
yourself.
I'm off tomorrow. I just took a sick day tomorrow, so I might be around.
Okay.
So all right, be good. I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, good to see you. Thanks
Bye.
for stopping in.
Zatoichi.
Hey, Zat, what's up?
What's up, guys?
Hebrew was telling us about y'all idea to stream music.
Hold on.
What? What happened?
Like doing a music stream.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to
Thank
work on
you.
it, but I can't get my
I'm always in this
instrument to
corner.
sound good.
I appreciate that.
I think I need a new computer. I
Why
can't
is that?
download Windows 11 because it says my computer won't handle it.
Yeah. Time to upgrade, my friend.
How did the gummies go?
Oh, good, man. I did 400 milligrams, and I was feeling good the whole night. It worked.
You sound like 3 octaves lower today, dude. Those gummies really did work.
Nah, it's just the mic. I got a new, well, not a new mic, but I bought a device that, a digital interface, because I was trying to, put myself through, like, play my bass online and, play with other people, but for some reason it's not working that well. It's like real distorted no matter how low I put it. Might be a problem with Windows.
I can talk like this too. I'm Zatoichi.
Super Shia went to eat. She's gonna go take care of herself.
I know. I want to know her tuna recipe. Gosh darn it.
No, here I am the opposite. I would love people smarter, more charismatic, and interesting than me. I couldn't imagine a channel of just me.
Why not?
It's not enough. I don't have all that other stuff he just named. I need other people to bring that. I'm not that narcissistic.
Hey, now I do solo shows, and I'm not a narcissist.
Yeah, and I've come here when you were just talking by yourself, and it was fine. I mean, I was watching it, and it was interesting. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, yeah, thank you.
Unblocking all of his friends. I want to do that too. Hold on.
Spike, you want a wrench?
I would have done it too.
You can wrench me.
True. Fuck it.
There's plenty of show here without Mike.
Mike.
Joe and I had
And hey, listen,
some very quality conversation the last few days, and so did some other panelists.
I wish you guys the best.
Yeah, I'm starting to see now why, like, when I showed up the first time and I was talking about a bunch of that stuff, that it seemed like such a breath of fresh air to folks, because when there's a bunch of trolls and they're like dominating the attention, and then I think about what I talked about, it's like it's a totally different conversation for sure.
Hey, Tommy.
Yo, guys, what up?
What's up, man?
I got a couple minutes. Just figured I'd say what up.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yo, Spike.
What's up, Toxic? Hey, Jeff, I put my email in back if you want to email him any instruction.
Oh my God, Rebel, knock it off.
Are you on Discord?
You would be a good mod, Spike.
Oh my God. Sorry.
All right, I'll shoot you mine.
What up, Hebrew?
What's up,
What's up, Tommy?
Yo, Zat, your bass sounds good, dude. I saw your one video, or the one live you did when you were playing it.
Yeah, but I can't get it to sound right. It's like it sounds like someone said like a blown speaker, you know?
Well, is it blown or is it just the settings?
It's I don't know, man. I turned the input down as low as it could go, and it still was blowing out on the low notes. So I don't know what the problem is. Maybe I
Sometimes
have.
people have distorted amps for like they want that sound. I don't know if you have
I
like a
know, but
setting that's on.
no, but it's like when I do it, it cuts out. You know, like the low end cuts out, and that's not good because you
It
can't
might be
hear.
blown. Yeah.
No, it's not the speaker. It's just
Oh,
the
okay.
settings of this device with my computer. For some reason, I think it's because I have Windows 10 and it's not working correctly.
Oh, you're going through your computer. I got it. I didn't know if you were playing like a regular bass with like a chord or, you know.
Well, I have it plugged into a box, and then that box goes into the computer.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
I don't know. It's not working like I thought it would, but maybe that's because of Windows 10. I have no
Like I
idea.
haven't played guitar. Like when I used to play guitar, we had chords, and like the chords would go to distortion pedals to the amps. You know,
Yeah.
like everything today is wireless. You know, everything is different. It's amazing what 20 years does
Oh no, man!
in
It's
musical
like
technology.
I'm thinking what I should do is maybe use my effects pedal and go into the box that way, and then I can like compress it and maybe tighten up the sound, and maybe it won't be so distorted. You know,
That'd be a good idea.
I'm gonna try it. We'll see what happens. And
I used to have
the
a
other,
Metal Zone pedal that had the best distortion sound for
yeah,
mixing.
I
Metal
have
Zone, that's a good brand.
my pedal is like a multi pedal, you know, and it has the Metal Zone setting on it. It's
Yeah,
like a simulated amp or
it's
whatever.
great distortion. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is.
and you could change it. You could make it sound different and things like
Get
that.
a hold of that chat, Mike.
What is this reported business
Witch
in the
jumped
chat?
down. I missed Witch. Salute Witch if you're still listening. Hope you have a
I
good
can't
week.
see it.
Okay,
I can't
hang
see
on.
it. I just saw it for a second. Hold on.
Yeah, Spike. I
Yeah,
think if it's
please,
okay with you,
yeah, please don't
I
address
will
me.
give you a wrench.
I don't have a wrench either, so please don't address me.
Moose is here
Please.
too. Moose, can I wrench you?
What did you say?
Appreciate
What's the
that.
matter,
Bobby?
Mike?
I don't
Wait.
have a wrench. So don't address me like that. I don't have a wrench.
You don't have a
Wait,
wrench.
who
No,
you talking to?
Mike is not. It's gonna be Moose.
Did
or
you just
Spike.
say my fucking first name, Mike?
Whoa!
Hebrew?
What
Calm
did you just
down.
say a minute ago?
Hebrew.
I'll rewind
Well,
that one.
yeah, there's
Yeah, I
a
don't
delay.
know.
Yeah, are you okay, man? Are you okay?
No,
I
I'm
said
Spike
not
would be
okay
a
with
good
you saying
mod,
my
though.
first name.
I said
Spike's
Hebrew,
good.
dude. Yo, stop your bullshit, bro. Just stop. Come on. I said Hebrew.
Okay,
You know I
come
said
on
Hebrew.
now. Come,
Stop
No,
look.
it.
I
Alright,
didn't
come
hear
on.
you.
Cut
I thought you
it
said my
out.
first
Cut
name.
it out. Cut it out, your little pokes. Cut it out. I said Hebrew. I don't know your first name. I have no idea what your first name is.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear him
Yeah.
say any type of name.
First
Oh,
name is
okay.
Shmuley.
Okay, well, moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salute Witch if you're still listening.
Uh-oh.
Why
What is
is
that?
Hebrew? Let me ask you a question.
Somebody's
Why
got
do
an
you beg
No,
echo.
me?
no. This is not drum hour. We
Why do you beg me to
have
call
the
you Kyle?
conversation another time, not right now. I want to talk about stocks,
Stocks and bonds.
politics, yeah, whatever, something.
Jeff, do you do stocks? Like, do you do penny stocks or Robinhood app at all?
I felt kind of trolled when I'm using this avatar and then Witch said she's going to go make tuna. It's a little offensive.
Well, maybe you inspired her, Spike,
I
with
hope
the
she doesn't
avatar.
roll me.
Here we go.
No melting.
I like the Robinhood app is good for stocks though. It helps you research the companies and stuff too. Yeah. I don't know what's good now, like what's up, what's down. I actually have an advisor that helps do that. Like I have savings and some of it gets invested and like I have an advisor that helps me with that because like I don't really know what I'm doing with stocks. So I use my family, like they have an advisor, and I ask them for help.
I bought this stock called Tilray, and it fucking was going up and down and up and down, and you could make money off of it just because it would go between $8 and $14, and
You got to know when to get in and out, right?
Well, I was doing that, but I didn't have
Yeah.
a lot of money. And then I finally had some money and I bought 44 shares of it and it dipped below $5 and it never went up again.
Yeah, like
As
that's
soon
the
as the
thing with
bottom.
this. Like if you can get in and out, you could really make a lot of money with day trading stocks. Like if you know what you're doing, I mean, and you get in and out of some of these companies, you could really do good.
Yeah. Well, a guy I worked with, he put $1,000 into it and he made 10,000. And I didn't have that kind of money. I put like $100 into it and I made like, 200 or something.
Yeah, but that's still something, you know.
Yeah,
Something.
but
The more obviously, the more you invest, the more you'll make. But that's what Wolf of Wall Street was all about. Penny stocks, remember? It's how
I don't.
Jordan Belfort actually made his fortune off of penny stocks, literally. Made a lot of money. Yeah.
I don't know. All
I
I
mean,
know
he
is,
was also like inside. He used insider information, so he was breaking the law too.
yeah.
He
Well,
brought that idea of day trading penny stocks to the rich.
I've seen some people that just watch what Nancy Pelosi invests in, and they do that.
Yeah, but
He makes money, that bitch.
yeah, I guess you could just like mirror somebody if they have a good record. I'm sure people do that.
She must have insider information. I mean, I'm convinced of it because she always makes these moves just before something bad happens.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of it. A lot of those politicians do. It's hard to prove though. Insider, you got to really be able to, prove it.
Hmm.
You ever watch that show Billions on Showtime?
Oh,
No.
I see it, but what's it about? I
Great
keep
show.
looking at it.
Oh, it's about
It is
stocks.
worth watching.
It's all about like big stock firms on Wall Street
Do
and
you
these huge
does
billionaires.
somebody that knows nothing about any of that, are they going to be able to follow it?
Yeah, you'll be able. It kind of the way they do the show. I didn't know a lot about it, and I'm very entertained by it. And you could really they explain what they're doing through the show. Like you see him make a big move, he gets some insider information on something, and then there's somebody that investigates him, which is a great character, Paul Giamatti, and his wife. Like it's a great show. You should watch it, Jeff.
What is it
Yeah,
called?
I might.
Billions.
Billions.
The guy from
Yeah.
Homeland's in it. The guy that played Brody. Damien,
Mm.
what's his name?
Mm.
We could
The
start
redhead
watching
guy.
the Discord too if
The
you want.
redhead guy, right?
If you watch it, I'll go. I'll actually go in there and watch it, Jeff. Because
Yeah, I might. I have
love
it.
that
I
show.
have it. I keep looking at it, but not sure if I want to invest. So I can give it a try.
Tommy, you talking about that red haired dude that played
Yeah, Damien
yeah,
something.
he played the sleeper terrorist, and then he
Yeah.
was Claire
Exactly.
Danes.
Brody.
Dude,
What
what
are
a
we talking about? I
show
heard
that
about
was.
insider trading. What's the context?
It's about trading, insider trading, big huge firm, and his family and the rich and how he lives. It's a really good show.
What was his name? Like Axelrod or something like that in the
Brody
show?
in the show. Oh,
Okay.
Axelrod. Yeah, Axelrod in Billions. That's
Yeah.
what his name is. Yeah. Yep. That's the name of his firm, and there's like a bunch of seasons already. Probably like 3 at least, maybe 4.
Looking at chat.
And the
here.
girl from Sons of Anarchy's in it. The girl that played Terry, Jax's baby mom.
What's
She plays Paul
your
Giamatti's
favorite
wife.
movies about like stocks and financial markets? There's like The Big Short is a lot of people's favorites. There's been a
Wall
few others,
Street
not a
was
whole lot.
good. It's a
Is
classic.
that the one with the
Michael
wolf,
Douglas?
the Wolf of Wall Street?
No, that's
I'm thinking
actually
the one with
with Leonardo.
DiCaprio.
Yeah,
I tried to
Wolf of Wall
watch that
Street.
one. I got about halfway into it, but I didn't.
Oh, it's pretty
It
good.
wasn't my world. I didn't relate to any of it.
It's pretty wild. There's a lot of drugs in that.
That was the best part.
Yeah, it's funny. Remember, get the lewds. He's in the boat. Get the lewds.
Yeah. Tommy, you always know the best series. Dude, I was watching some of the old Boardwalk Empires. Have you guys ever seen those? The
Oh
Boardwalk
yeah, I
Empires?
love them. Yeah, they're great.
If you
Oh,
like
dude, they're
vintage
so
stuff,
good.
like it's set in the 20s and the 30s, like all the old school cars and
All through
mafia
Prohibition. Yep.
The mafia ran everything. Like
There's
everything.
like 7 seasons too. There's a good lot of content there.
Yeah.
I like
Hell of a
Steve
good
Is it
Buscemi.
based in like the 50s?
What's that?
What's that?
Boardwalk Empire, is that?
It's in the
The
20s, from like
The 20s.
Prohibition
Yeah, yeah.
era when they outlawed alcohol. It's like what it's all about. Like bootlegging and
Tommy,
shit.
who was your favorite character in that series? I know mine. Who was your favorite?
Well, I liked, I liked Lucky. I liked Jimmy Jimmy too, his right hand man, the guy that went to the war, and
What
then
about
came home and became his like button man basically, and did all the murders for him and shit.
Tommy, what about Richard Harrow, the guy with half the face?
Oh yeah, Harrow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his war buddy. That guy was
Yeah.
cool too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't seen Boardwalk Empire, you got to watch it. It's a killer series about
They
prohibition.
got
mafia.
Lucky Luciano, Al Capone in it.
Yeah.
All the Arnold Rothstein, all the
The
big
boss
time
of
gangsters.
Bosses, Joe Masseria, the boss
Yeah,
of all
they got them all.
Yeah. So sorry.
good
Yeah.
show.
Just,
Tommy
awesome.
2 times. He's gonna go get
Tommy
the
two
papers.
times. Yeah, there's Tommy two. It was Jimmy in the movie
Get the
actually.
papers. Get the papers.
Yeah, Jimmy two times. Yeah.
There was Frankie Carbone. There was Tommy D.
Salmonella.
Oh yeah. Get the papers. A lot of those mobsters in Goodfellas in that scene were based off of real guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
They're all
Feels
based
less
off of real
Italian
guys.
around Mike and Tommy talking about this stuff. I feel like I have
Yeah.
to return my Italian card.
That's it.
That's the only time you show it, Spike.
I feel very much less Italian around you two.
or what? What?
All we need is Vinny up here, and then I won't even.
Yo, Vinny. That'd be an overload. I'd have to jump down.
Yeah.
Overload of Italian on the back.
It's like how many times you can call somebody pal in one sentence. All right, pal. All right, pal. All the old Italians they call you pal. All right, pal. It was a nice way of saying shut up. Like, all right, pal. It means be quiet. Andiamo, be
Yeah.
quiet. Shut your mouth. But no, it's good. It's good. But yeah, there's really not a lot of good stuff coming out. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't really gonna say anything. I just feel more Hebrew when Hebrew's around.
Easy.
Spike, have you ever had a... Go ahead.
That's it. 3 syllables.
Spike, have you ever had a Mr. Beast burger? Mr. Beast franchise?
Yes, I did. This is one
Did
of
you
my
like
food-
Oh, I didn't even know they had them. Are they good?
I think I actually have a short on my channel trying out the Beast Burger. Doing
I'll
my
have to check
review.
it out. I didn't know he had his own places.
Well, he capitalized. He was a pioneer of capitalizing the third-party kitchens. So he basically bought out a bunch or rented out a bunch of kitchens during the pandemic, and then created burger stands, burger delivery.
Oh wow.
So, like, for instance, Buca di Beppo is a huge Italian restaurant out here, and he rented their kitchen and then started making beast burgers.
Mm.
So it was a non-brick and mortar. It was just an online business, but he made a gazillion.
Mm-hmm. He killed it. That
Pretty
guy is a
good.
genius. He's a marketing genius, that guy. Mm.
Yeah, he knows how to. Well, what he does, if you ever watched him in an interview, he basically all the money he makes per month, he recycles into the next month of creativity. So his
He pays it
content
forward.
will.
Right
Yeah,
on.
Housekeeping.
Hebrew, why are you writing in Sanskrit? What the hell's going on down there?
But I'm writing in Hebrew.
Well, if
Oh,
you
is that
wanna
Hebrew?
know,
I didn't know. Okay. I thought
I read
actually thought it was
Hebrew, and
Sanskrit.
what he said was, "Spike, I appreciate you, man, and I'm glad you're here."
oh, thanks. You just doxed me.
Hello. Are you there?
I gotta ask Jeff a question when he gets back.
It's a
Have you guys
scam.
ever heard of King
It's a
Diamond?
scam calls. Yeah, it's a scam call. I just go hello over and over again as they're talking. It's just funny. Sorry. It's a telemarketer. Sorry. You gotta have fun with telemarketers. You gotta.
marketers. They're so annoying.
Fuck! I
Yeah.
just stubbed my toe. Fuck!
Oh no! Ooh, I
Hey,
Put on the
feel
edge of my.
that.
Put on the
That's the
fucking wood
worst.
post
Jeff,
of my
I
bed,
wanted to
dude.
ask you a question.
What's up?
Oh,
Do you are you familiar with a heavy metal artist called King Diamond?
Mm-mm. Where they from?
Oh, I'm about to look it up.
He's from Denmark, but he's a Satanist, and he's not like these goofy bastards in the '80s that just put like devils on their
Like
album
Slayer,
covers. He-
like Slayer. They're not like
yeah,
Slayer.
like he's a real Satan.
He said goofy bastards.
Maybe he'll come on the show.
No, he won't. He's
There's
pretty.
goofy
Does
bastards
he
in the
speak
80s.
English?
Yeah, he
They're not
speaks
real
perfect
Satanists.
English.
Nah, because they just marketed it. I know what you mean, Zach. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They're not worshiping Satan, literally. Like Motley Crue's not worshiping Satan.
Something about Mary when Matt Dillon goes, "Those goofy bastards are all I have left." He's like,
Oh my god.
who was Bam Margera's favorite band? Weren't they Swedish, like a Swedish band, or from Denmark?
Is it
or
Ghost?
something
I don't know.
Ghost is really popular.
I like
like
Ghost.
that? Bam,
Ghost is good.
Bam
They're
Margera's
good,
favorite metal band. Let me look it up. He was always talking about them.
CKY.
They're actually touring, I think, Jeff. Ghost.
I
And,
don't know.
and they were like foreign as fuck. I can't remember who they were.
A lot of my Satanist friends like listen to Ghost.
They're kind of good. A lot more Christian stuff.
There was a group I was working with a few years ago, and we were trying to create a community using blockchain, where like community decisions and voting could be made with blockchain technology, and we would have like an economy for the community.
So
Would be tied to
Bam
crypto and
Margera's,
blockchain.
Jeff, Bam Margera's favorite band, CKY, Daniel Lion Eye, Gunnar Kill, and Fuckface Unstoppable. I swear
That's
to
the
God.
name of the band.
I don't
I'm
know.
really old school.
They're probably punk bands.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
dad rock, dad Satan
They
rock.
sound like punk bands, don't they, Jeff? Like punk bands? Punk title.
I guess his
Or
favorite was
hardcore,
CKY. Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess so. Like hardcore, because if you gave him to me
Hardcore.
like a game show or something, and say what genre is this, I would probably say hardcore.
Like hardcore or even punk.
thrash.
Metalcore, maybe. They've combined a lot of genres lately, like how hardcore and metal is like metalcore, like Breaking
Yeah.
Benjamin and shit.
And they seem to be standardizing it through Wikipedia now.
Yeah, they are. You can see all those genres in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
They give you
And they're
examples for all the
classifying
bands.
like specific artists and albums and all these micro
guys know that, like-
as representatives of the genre.
But
Post
some of these
Malone-
artists
Post
fit
Malone.
in multiple genres. They fit in
Yeah,
multiple
that's where you have all these
Malone-
hyphenated genres now.
Post Malone's a country singer now. He used to be a
Yeah, I
rapper.
seen that. He's doing a country song. Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
Kid Rock now, right? Kid Rock went
I mean,
from
he's an artist that's going to do all types of stuff.
Beyonce with country. It's horrible.
I don't think because they do one song they're country unless he's making a whole album. You know,
I can't stand country.
I'm not a country guy. I'm not. I was born in the North. I don't really.
I like the old country, like Hank Williams, Patsy Cline.
Yeah,
I like Johnny
mellow
Cash.
country. Carter family.
Johnny
What about
Cash
Whitney-
is considered
Dolly,
country.
Kenny.
Yeah.
I like David Allen Coe. He's country and he's all right.
Oh,
Conway
Dolly.
Twitty.
Actually,
Conway.
Dolly's so hot.
Yo, remember the girl that was on?
What
And she
you got
kept talking about Conway Twitty all over and over
Yeah.
again.
Excuse me, Mr.
Me,
Twitty.
Mr. Twitty.
Excuse me, Mr. Twitty.
I remember that.
Hello, darling.
Hey, Derek.
Remember she
Oh
said,
my God, I'm eating. I'm choking.
Jeff, remember she said there was a snake pit in the bottom of the bus? The Alice Cooper bus had a snake pit? Holy shit.
They traveled with snakes. They performed with live snakes, Alice.
That was the craziest thing ever.
Cooper was awesome, man. Cooper
I wanna
inspired
see somebody
Marilyn
do it with
Manson.
a live gorilla.
He actually signed Marilyn Manson. Oh no, he toured with Marilyn Manson. That's right.
Yeah, that was funny.
Trent
Jeff, I
Reznor
guess.
signed Marilyn Manson. That's right.
Yeah.
From Nine Inch Nails.
Oh yeah.
Anybody see the new Crow? I heard it was
Plenty.
gory.
Just curious.
Is it
They
good?
said it was. They said it was gory.
It's
Very
already
gory.
out.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's on
Yeah.
Netflix. It's
Yeah.
very gory.
It's on Netflix.
Or maybe not Netflix. It's out. You could watch it on. I don't know.
Like
Streaming
illegal
somewhere.
websites or
Somebody
whatever.
told me. Yeah,
Hmm.
somebody told
You
me.
roofing
Said
in
it
the
was.
rain?
It was
Wow.
very, very gory though.
We'll try to get
I
you
saw the
through it.
new Wolverine and Deadpool, and I wasn't too impressed because they keep doing that goddamn multiverse shit where there's all the versions of the superhero, and it gets old. It's like
Mhm.
That was so gory. Definitely not for kids.
Mm.
what Wolverine?
No, the Deadpool Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
All the like sexual innuendo and curse words and crazy violence.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But one thing
they
that made me laugh though, there was a line in there where he turns to Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and he says something about they're gonna have you doing this until you're 93, saying that Disney bought him and they're gonna have him keep doing Wolverine until he's 93.
Oh, I'm dead. I heard that's the last Deadpool. Like he's not doing him anymore. He said his wife will kill him. She was in that movie though.
Yeah, she played Lady
Played Lady
Deadpool.
Deadpool. Yeah, the blonde hair. She's
Cool
hot, dude. She is
You talking
smoking.
about you're talking about shit. What
Blake
is her
Lively,
name?
is that her name?
Blake Lively. Have you seen all the videos on her about how she's an a-hole? Have you seen that?
About
No.
what? What is it?
Like Blake Lively's like really rude to people.
I used to.
Oh
These are
no,
just-
I didn't know. I didn't know
These
that.
are look it up. These are just videos on YouTube. Like that, she's like being like pissy in interviews, and all of her co-actors don't like working with her. Like, look it up. I had
When
no
I was in
idea.
prison, I laminated. That was the only photo I had in my cell was a laminated picture of her, and I like used tape and like I laminated it so I could stick it in the shower, and yeah, I used to get down to that thing.
Well, hey, good luck to you on that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. Apparently, this is what people are saying, not me. I have no idea. But, like, she was hard to deal with, hard to work with. She was rude. Look it up for yourself.
I heard that too. I heard that on that movie, or what was that? No, the sitcom she played, or not sitcom. God damn it, the season that she played on. She was hella rude to the makeup people.
Don't know.
Hella rude. Hold on. I'm gonna look it up. You guys can watch the little video.
Yeah, people say like Ed Norton was hard to work with, and
Didn't
Yeah.
He was great in American History X though.
when they filmed Bandits in my town, I met Von Thornton and Bruce Willis, and Bruce Willis was a fucking asshole.
Dude,
We waited out
what?
there for like.
Dude, are you sure? Because I heard he was cool as shit. My dad met him and flew with him
Oh shit!
for like
Billy Bong was
20
cool.
hours.
For like 2 hours, dude, and like Billy Bong stopped and like took pictures with people and shit, and Bruce Willis just walked.
You know,
straight
you
to the
never
car.
know. People on one day can seem like a dick and cool on another. You know,
Maybe he
these are
just didn't like
celebrities
you.
we're dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably.
I mean, it could be having. Someone could have a shitty day. You catch them at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean they're an asshole forever. Like,
Well, I think we're all assholes.
yeah, we can all be assholes. That's a fact.
Well, everything I heard
Not
about
me.
Bruce Willis, everything I heard about him, he's like super chill. He's like a super chill guy. That's
Me
what I heard
too.
about.
My dad
Yeah.
actually flew with him.
Apparently,
and-
he's an asshole.
Wow.
yeah,
It was
he-
cool.
Which
he's
he
super
could be.
chill,
Like,
he
I
can't talk
totally could see
anymore.
celebrities being assholes. Or just high status people in general.
He's super chill because he can't speak.
Oh, now he can't. Yeah, it's sad what's happening to him now. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I'm gonna jump down. Thanks for having me up. I'll be in the chat. I gotta work for a little bit.
Tommy,
Okay.
Have a good day. Good seeing you.
Good guy.
Salute,
Stay out of
salute,
trouble.
Tommy.
Goodbye, Tommy. I'm Zatoichi.
Yeah.
What's that, Hebrew? I guess not.
Yeah, I like Tom. The whole energy changes when Tommy comes on. The discussions get right back on track.
Mhm.
I think Tommy's great.
There's a narrative. There's a narrative laid, and then we start going off of that narrative. And that's
Yeah,
a good thing.
it's when the trolls show up and the drama starts.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Anything else that you're thinking of? Like, apparently, I was looking into the second Trump unaliving, and he left a real detailed note, and they've been
Ah, I
reviewing
saw
it.
that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
we talked about it yesterday or the day before.
All right, what's up? What happened?
The guy that the second attempt on Trump, he left some kind of letter with all these detailed instructions and saying how he was doing it to save America and he hopes somebody else continues the work and
Yeah. So in other
They
words,
showed
the
his
whole
letter.
yeah, they
yeah,
released his
yeah.
letter.
Oh
And
wow.
the narrative is that there's more people out there that are hooked to this guy. There's it's a theory that there are other people in place. Like he was meant to do the mission, and if the
I think
mission
they're
didn't
just trying to
succeed,
weaponize crazy people.
could be.
I'm skeptical of stochastic terrorism in general, unless you're intentionally trying
Yeah.
to maximize the chances of it. And
But Jeff,
which I'm not saying it's intentional, but there is rhetoric coming out of the left that could lead people like this to think that they're being heroes.
sure. What do they call that, Jeff? They call it a certain term. Copycat
Stochastic
killers.
terror.
Copycats.
Well, this would be more like stochastic terrorism, I think, because I don't know if he's
Mhm.
copying anybody.
But
Was this the
the
shooter at the
theory
golf
is, and
course?
it's go ahead.
Sorry, real quick. Was this the shooter that was hurt at the golf course he was at in
Yeah,
Florida?
yeah. Ryan
Yes.
Ralph.
Wow. All right. Told you, Jeff. I don't
And
catch up on news till Mondays.
Yeah. Oh, right.
yeah,
You're gonna say
apparently his son, they interviewed his son. His son was the same rhetoric, the same down with Trump rhetoric, the same things.
yes.
Well, Twisted Pretzel, aka Dutchy, thank you. I'm sorry. That's why
Wait,
Jeff.
pretzel is Dutchy?
That's Dutchy. Yep,
You
that's Dutchy.
kidding? You
No,
know
I'm
that
not
for a
kidding.
fact?
100%.
Okay, if anybody could verify that, they're not supposed to be around here at all.
Yeah, it's Dutchy.
Who are all these people?
How do you know
Um,
that that's sketchy?
Because I've been on other panels with that, and then people were calling that person out, and that person disappeared.
But that doesn't mean it's them. I mean, they could have
them.
just got freaked out and left.
It's them. It's
Well, you
she's
know what? To be fair, they've been following, even if it is Dutchy, this person has been following the rules, and to the point where I didn't even suspect it was Dutchy at all. So as
yeah,
long as they're behaving, they can stay, I
of
guess. I'm
course,
sure
of course.
Liliana has accounts and other people.
Right. Yeah.
As long as they're not causing the trouble that originally got them
very
kicked.
good.
Hey,
Good.
soccer.
If they
But
want
the
to
whole-
reform and come back under other names that I don't notice,
they have a whole handful of them.
Can you unblock transsexual Jesus Christ?
I wouldn't.
I will do
wouldn't.
it for one reason only, because I forgot why I blocked them. But if they do any of the bike
Thank you.
shit or the passive aggression thing, they're going
No,
back
you're good.
on
No,
block.
I think it was an accident a long time ago, and I just never said anything.
Okay, I'll take care of that right now.
That's that little troll circle over there. A little
Well, fortunately, we're moving on from that. So.
yeah.
Trolls
I
are
see
people
it.
too.
Troll
See,
circle.
Tommy left, and now we're back talking about trolls.
You're good. No. So the whole, I'm wondering what the narrative is. I'm really, really wondering if it is, him and isolated, or there are other people that it was like a conglomerate where there was a few people in line, because there are sleepers. There are people that will go in groups, and if one
Like,
person
there's
goes,
people that are like handlers that are
yeah,
grooming these people to do this.
yeah, sure. Because let me ask you this: how did he get? So he was a convicted violent felon with a laundry list of charges. He had a rap sheet this long, right? So how did he get an SKS with a honed sniper scope? It was adjusted. In other words, you have to know what you're doing to adjust a sniper scope on an SKS. He had an SKS. He could not purchase it. So where did he get the gun from? How did he get that gun? Why was that optics on that scope exactly centered? He had no knowledge of that.
That's what you're going off of to infer a conspiracy?
No, he didn't have an AR optics. He had an SKS. An SKS is a heavy bullet, but he had a banana clip, and he had a centered optics sight. So he basically had a sniper rifle, basically.
And the assumption is he could not have
No.
acquired that without help.
It's not even close
No.
to a sniper rifle. It's 7.62 by 39. It's just an AK round. I mean, it's a heavy round, heavy 5.56, but at the same time, It's not a sniper room. Anyways.
So also he had the all of the serial numbers were etched off as well.
Yeah, that probably happens if you're getting
Yeah.
stuff on the black market.
People think that you can walk down the street and buy an SKS from this dude you know. That doesn't work that way. You have to have a
Wanna
lot
bet?
of connections to get a high-powered rifle.
When I was dealing heroin, I used to buy firearms all the time from people.
Did you buy SKSs?
Some good old boys.
You know, if you have a friend that is good enough, they'll get you some shit. You know.
Dude, I had. You should have seen the little arsenal I had before I fucking fell. Ooh, that hurt my body. My toe is killing me.
What the hell did you do?
I stubbed it on the fucking wood, like on the end of my bed.
Better be careful, man. That's how Bob Marley died.
Well, Rick stepped on a nail and lost his leg. I don't
Is
want
that
to
what
be that
happened
dude.
to him? Is that what
Yeah,
happened? He stepped on a nail.
Stepped on a nail and got infected. He didn't take care of it.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, Paul. It's pretty easy to get guns.
Yeah.
Especially in America, like I had friends that would just hit houses. They would rob houses. That's what they did. So they would always get guns. I mean, it's always guns in houses. They'd come to me. I'd sell them a little heroin and get a gun, and then trade it off for more money. I'm not worried about it. Indict me.
You're indicted.
I want to go back. Oh, fuck, man. I lost. I can't find my can of chew. It's driving me nuts.
Chew?
What kind of chew?
Tobacco? I don't even think people
Just
chewed
Grizz wintergreen.
anymore.
It's the only thing I can do.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, all the
Grizz.
I
guys
remember
in
chewing.
school used to do it growing up. All the guys chewed.
Yeah, as a youngster,
I
trying to
did it for a
chew.
little
It's the
while.
thing to do.
I used to get Applejack. That shit, you know, it had like an apple flavor, and it was chewing tobacco. And I didn't know that, you know, you can't just spit it out the side of the car when you're doing 80 because it just went down the whole side of the car.
When you guys were little, if you guys played Little League, did you ever get remember the Big League Chew, the gum?
Oh, the
Yeah,
gum? Like that shredded gum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They even make like beef jerky in like a chew can now. Little
That
round
was
can.
so good too. Shredded beef jerky.
The beef jerky, yeah.
What do y'all think about that? Is that corrupting and grooming kids?
Oh, dude! When I was a kid, they had those chalk candies that were in a cigarette
Yeah,
pack.
candy
It had,
cigarettes. We used
had
to
like
have
jets on them
we,
and
we
shit.
pretend smoke on the playground at school.
Yeah, I used to
As
buy those all the
kids,
time.
Nobody
and eat
said
'em.
anything.
They taste like shit, but you think you're cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to buy those all the time. Yeah, it's just getting kids used to fucking or like thinking that it's cool.
Or
Yeah,
the
it's
little
like
candies with the liquor and
hard
you know,
sugar.
like little candy liquor bottles, and you bite
Oh,
it
with
off.
the chocolates with the liquor in it
Yeah.
that you get at the
Everybody's
Italian restaurants. Those are so good.
There's the
hands
fact
had
that
in a
like
bowl
beer
somewhere.
mugs like look like beer mugs, right?
Yeah, and they had the Marciano. What do they call it? Marciano cherries.
Maraschino cherries. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, those are. My grandma used to get those. They had brandy in them.
Mm.
You talking about
Oh,
the
Yeah,
yeah.
Sabella? You talking about the Sabellas? Those were the best.
I don't know. I didn't.
They came in foil, like the foil. It was
Yeah.
like the label of the different liquor bottles, and
Huh.
then
It was
they
a
had
cherry. It was a
chocolate,
cherry
and they
in
had the liquor
the
in it.
chocolate and wrapped.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
talking about the chocolate covered cherries?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cherry that has liquor in it and has like a creamy kind of feeling.
Oh, I do
has
remember
stuff on
those. Yeah,
I think
I
it's
didn't like
brandy.
that creamy stuff though.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
cherry liqueur. Cherry liqueur. It was delicious.
Yeah, I do remember those.
What was your favorite Big League Chew, Mike?
I just like the original, just the original gum, the original
bubble
gum.
gum
I
flavor.
was a
I
grape
remember.
kid. I love the grape one.
Yeah, I remember the
Yeah.
grape.
I used to do Hubba
I
Bubba
love
all
the
the
grape.
time.
Hubba
I
Bubba.
love the
Squirt
squares.
in
The
your
Hubba
mouth.
Bubba
Yeah, that was so
squares.
fun.
Yeah.
It really was. That was a good
Remember,
invention.
you guys remember Chewels? the gum with the liquid in the middle. When you bit it, the liquid came out.
Yeah.
The sweet liquid.
Hubba Bubba did that.
Chewels. Yeah.
I
It
remember
was good.
Shock Tarts. Ooh, or
Oh my
Warheads. I
god, me
mean,
and my
Warheads.
sister got so drunk on rum
I
balls
had.
at Christmas one year. We
Are you
were like,
What
serious? Oh,
about
yeah, we were like, I don't know, 13,
a
14,
lot of rum
12,
balls.
maybe.
what
And they
about
had
around
alcohol in them.
what about around freaking Easter? Cadbury eggs. Remember the Cadbury eggs with the cream?
Oh yeah.
Those are too sweet though, man. It's like eating a fucking thing of
I like
sugar.
They were, but for some reason,
little
at that one time of the year, they
spot.
were so good. Like they
I still
marked
get
that
one
time of
every
the year.
year.
Potted milk dug egg.
I still get one every year. It's like a
Yeah,
tradition.
I don't really like chocolate very much.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing. I don't like any of the individual ingredients, but at that time of year, having that creamy shell that you lick all that yolk out of, I think it is tradition, like Spike said.
It was
But you're
super
right.
super sweet though. Super sweet.
Wow.
That cream, pure sugar.
Yeah,
It's like guys. Remember Pixie Sticks?
yeah.
I literally have some in my drawer right now.
I used
Just
to get
freaking sugar.
the Star Wars baseball cards when I was a kid. I mean,
Hmm.
they're not baseball cards, but you know what I mean. They were just the same
The
thing.
trading cards. We had the
Yeah,
garbage
trading
pail
cards.
kid cards. Yeah, because you would do that.
Oh,
You'd have these like packs of bubble
Bazooka gum
gum
came with cards.
that would come with cards, and they'd have all kind of different themes of
Yeah,
trading
yeah.
cards.
Every Sunday night, my dad would stop at 7-Eleven and buy me a couple packs of the Star Wars cards, and that was a big deal, you know.
Yeah.
Like Sour Patch Kids. Because it like shocks your. That's what cold water does too. It like shocks your body's attention away from whatever's causing that sympathetic response to activate.
Mm.
Someone
Something
in
like
the
this.
chat just said, "Remember those sticks with the bag of sugar? Those were Lick'em sticks, right?"
Yeah, Fun Dip, Lick'em Sticks.
Oh,
Fun
no, the
Dip.
dip. It's Fun Dip. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
You
and it had a
select a
little white
No,
freeze the
but
sugar
little white
stick
thing.
that you
that's
lick.
Uchi's right. The inscription on the actual white stick was called a Lick'em Stick.
Oh,
So it's one of those Bernstein Bears memories things.
Mandela.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's also the name of my penis.
Oh,
Fun Dip.
The giggle
No,
stick.
Lick'em stick.
The giggle stick.
The giggle stick. You wish.
That's a nice comment
Okay,
there.
where
You see
my
that comment
mind's
there?
at.
Look at that. That's nice.
Is that true?
What a nice person. What a nice person that was.
Just ignore them. Don't feed them.
No, just
We
a
got
nice
minds
person.
now. We got minds
Yeah.
now.
What a nice person.
but as far as grooming
I mean,
goes,
you
I
used
have
to.
a literal story about that. As far as the bubble gum, the Big League Chew.
Yeah.
As a kid, yeah, we all love Big League Chew, especially if you played Little League because you felt like this is my magic gum, you know? And I remember having my mom always get it at the games or whatever. And you get into like what Hebrew is saying, the beef jerky, you have the little fake tobacco dip. And when I played football in high school, I actually went out and got chewing tobacco, like 17 years old, like 11th grade or something, and tried playing football with tobacco in my, like a baseball player, you know, like I'm Babe Ruth kind of
I
thing.
know where
But
this is going.
yeah, yeah. So I'm playing football with dip in my mouth, Skull wintergreen lawn cuts, if not cherry, it was one of the two. And all I needed was that one hit where all of a sudden all that tobacco got swallowed, and I had to get taken off. I mean, I left the field. I was vomiting everywhere. It just
There's nothing
swallowed
like
this big chunk of
swallowing that shit. It's just
nasty.
it's so nasty. It's like it just burns.
I was literally groomed, to use the word, you know, into thinking that, yeah, tobacco, no problem. Big League Chew, no problem. It's not the same at all.
Oh, Jeff,
Yeah, the
you're talking
orange
about
push-ups.
the push-up where you put the stick
Yeah,
up and it
you
comes to the top.
and the
Yeah,
nutty butters. That the ice cream trucks. That's the two things we'd get from the ice cream truck.
I
How
used to
good
get
though?
toasted almonds.
the favorite growing up was remember the drumsticks, the cone with the nuts
Yeah, the
on
nut.
top.
I call those nutty butter, nutty butters,
Yeah.
Nutter
nutty
butters
butters.
or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah,
Choco
those the Nestle
Taco
cones.
or the Choco Taco.
I never
The
had that. I
Choco
think that was
Taco.
after me.
Yeah, I remember the Choco Taco. Yeah, bro.
They had
Yeah, man.
Flintstone push-up. Did it have Flintstone vitamins in it? Those were good. They made those way too good as a kid. You could never just eat one.
What?
Mm.
What was
The
it?
Flintstone vitamins. They were chewable,
Oh,
but
I
tastes like
know, man.
candy.
Yeah, they were
Oh, they
like
were
Yeah.
so good.
that. I blame those things for me taking drugs later in
And
life.
baby aspirin too.
How did they not have a vitamin called the Scooby Snack? That
Yeah.
Well, they had Scooby Snack gummies. Remember those? The little Scooby Snack gummies? Like, my kids were always into those little gummies for, like, lunch. They had the Scooby Snack gummies. But I remember the Flintstone vitamins. They never tasted good, though. They always tasted
Oh,
chalky.
I want one right now. I'm gonna go buy some Flintstone vitamins just to test them again.
They were chalky, though, man. They were like,
I know,
Yeah.
but it was something about that crunchy chalkiness and that flavor, and it wasn't
Yeah,
like
like
a
the
terribly
grape
sweet
flavor was
flavor. It was
amazing.
perfectly balanced.
The grape
Did you guys
flavor
have
was
the, Did you guys have the vitamin C's that came in the plastic orange? Those
Yeah.
were delicious.
Yeah.
We had the chewable, but not till I was an adult. And we had that rose hip stuff, which I love.
We're being a
okay.
bunch of weirdos right now. Joe's looking at us like, what? Your
weirdo.
generation has some weird shit.
Yeah.
No, I actually had the tab down and I was working on something else. So what you're seeing is my reaction to whatever else is on my screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So that throws off the interpreting body language on the internet completely because you never know when someone's body language is in reaction.
Yeah, and in an open panel of autists/birds, then that's going to completely throw people off.
That's why I don't go off of body language. It's never served me as usefully as direct verbal communication
I didn't
until
I
that
didn't
starts to
realize.
break down.
I don't know if you guys are having any of this. It's literally thundering and lightning outside. I had no idea. I looked on I guess there's a storm coming this way. There's like a tropical storm
Oh,
coming.
I saw it today in the yeah, I forgot the name. Is it?
Well, wasn't there a hurricane that was supposed to hit Florida?
It ended up hitting.
I guess we're getting the remnants of it. It's literally pouring rain outside.
Is
And,
there a hurricane that isn't supposed to hit Florida?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Helene, hurricane watch for Florida. So yeah, that
Don't
might
invest
be
in
what you're getting
insurance
some of because
companies
it's
that
coming
do
from the
most of their
Caribbean.
business in Florida, by the way.
The what?
I said don't invest in insurance companies that do most of their business in Florida, by the way.
Or
Never buy a
Louisiana,
car.
probably.
Never buy a car from an auction that was based out of Florida. Ever. They're always going to be flooded cars. Always. So be careful. when
Never
you
buy a car from a guy who rides his bike to work.
That's it. Or with a little bell. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, a lot of those auction cars, they come from down south and they're all flooded out. And they had to hide. They had to switch the titles now where they don't look like they're salvage titles. Yeah, man. Crawl into the cupboard. You'll be safe. Well, Twisted, I can't crawl in the cupboard. Sorry, but I'm sure you can.
Here, let's.
It'll be a Dutch. It'll be a Dutch cupboard. Yeah. A little bit too big for the cupboard. But no, yeah, I had no idea. You always kind of know in a way when a storm is coming, when it's like 10 o'clock in the morning and it's dark outside. It's like something's up. Something's not exactly right.
We used to have this thing
Yeah.
called tornado weather, where you like there's the air changes. It gets ionized or something, and it gets
Yeah.
real crisp. And we
The
used to
sky
say that
turns
was tornado
green.
weather, and that means there's a tornado somewhere in the area.
You can smell it. You can smell the
Yeah, it was
electricity.
like
in
a
the air.
smell and
Yeah.
a sense, like the air felt differently or went into your nose differently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the clouds get all scalloped and turn green. Everything turns like a weird green color.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what it is? Electricity in the air? It was
Yeah,
cool. I
probably.
love tornado weather. I didn't like tornadoes. I've never really seen a full one, but I love tornado weather.
We don't get those in LA. I'm Zatoichi.
Yeah, I
No,
got
I
some.
want to. I'm telling you, I missed the season so bad, even though I've never even had them. But I need to get out of LA. I need to experience these 4 seasons you guys talk about.
Take a road trip.
Oh, I've definitely taken road trips, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, I hear about these spring. I mean, we get spring and we get a little bit of winter, but I've been in the snow like 5 times in my life. I've seen it snow once.
Once?
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about when you guys talk about all this
Man,
stuff.
you're missing out, dude. You're Spike. There is nothing like a foot of snow, man. I mean, you are just in heaven. Literally, you're mountain down hills, and we get snow in Virginia, which is rare, but we did we get a couple inches. But growing up in New York, man, being a kid, I mean, getting 6 inches to a foot of snow, it was awesome. And school didn't close. You still had to go to school,
No,
because
no, no, I didn't.
up north you're used to it. But here, if we get a half an inch of snow or an inch, school shut down for like 3 days. No one wants to go to work. It's like, what? It's wild, man.
My ex is from Philly, and I flew out there one February to visit with her family,
Mhm.
and I rented a car, and I was freaking out with all that black ice.
Yeah.
She's like kind of laughing at me like she grew up in it. I'm pulling over asking if we can please get a cab because I can't get to the cheesesteak place. Because the black ice, I felt like I was going to hit cars left and right. I'm like fish out of water, so to speak.
Trying to get the cheesesteak. They're
Spike
I'm
worth
Spike
trying
it.
is all Spike is all like nice, like California. Excuse me, man. Can we please? And then his girlfriend's
Looking
like,
for the
get the fuck out of
cheesesteaks.
She's like, get the fuck out of the way.
Oh yeah, she was a pure 100% Italian Philly girl. She was
Yeah.
laughing at me trying to drive on that ice.
Yeah. Oh man, that
Hey
is
Jeff,
so
I got to
funny.
drop down, but thanks for having me up. And
Yeah, you
Take
too.
care,
That
man.
that
Take
good
good
care.
seeing.
seeing
I'll
you guys.
probably
Take it
wind
easy.
it down myself, take a little break, and come
See
out
you
here.
later,
Yeah.
Zatoichi.
See you later.
Take care, brother.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop down too. I need to figure out what lunch is.
That I need to run out myself.
This
Peace,
is this
guys.
is Spike's choices. This is Spike's choices.
So thanks a
Tacos,
lot, Spike. For
tacos or burgers. That's Spike's two choice. Or Chinese food, right? Chinese food,
oh,
tacos or
that
burgers.
sounds
Yeah,
good. I wish they had some
Chinese a little bit.
closer to me.
It is Tuesday. I might go the taco route, but you're kind of right. It's usually
Yeah.
cheeseburger, double cheeseburgers, tacos, or pizza are my go-to.
Mm.
Chinese food is if I'm feeling a little fancy,
Oh,
but
I
yeah.
call
Yeah.
all of that American food.
We had Chinese last night. It was good, man. Pork, not pork. Sorry, beef lo
Like
mein.
takeout, or you cooked it.
No. I cannot cook Chinese. We have
Oh,
to get it. That's one thing I cannot cook. You have to know how to work that
that's
wok.
true. Yeah, it is a different
Yeah.
style.
Beef lo mein, spring rolls, mixed vegetables.
Ramen. I
We
can make ramen.
egg foo young. We actually went egg foo young. We went old school. It was good. It was really good.
Egg foo young is that's a very rare order, but I do appreciate it. I love egg
Yeah,
foo young.
good stuff, man.
My
That but
dad,
that
my dad.
that beef Spike, that beef lo mein. It's Chinese spaghetti. That's what it is.
Are you trolling me? Are you trying to keep me on
It's
panel so
good.
I keep talking about food
I
with
know,
you?
man. I know. Hey,
No,
Jeff,
go
let me
eat.
ask you a
Look,
question.
go eat.
Let me ask
We
Jeff
can
a
eat
question.
later.
Hey, Jeff, who invented spaghetti?
I always heard Marco Polo, but that was kind of an urban legend, or he
What
like brought it
what
back from
country?
China or something.
What country invented spaghetti? What country?
China, Chinese.
China. You got it, brother. You got it. Italians did not invent spaghetti. The
But
Chinese did.
but let's fact check that because that was always a legend growing up.
The
It could
Chinese
be
invented
Mandela
spaghetti.
misinformation.
Yeah. Now we took it and ran with it. We made penne and rigatoni and all these different cuts of it, but the
History. The
spaghetti,
first
the
written
spaghetti.
record of pasta comes from the Talmud in the 5th century AD and refers to dried pasta that should be cooked through boiling. Some historians think that Arabs introduced pasta to Europe during a conquest of Sicily. It
Oh,
um, no, it seems like it could be Islamic
well,
and possibly
I
Jewish, and
believe
that it was brought to Sicily once Were y'all conquer? Are you part Muslim?
So that's a good question. So there are Sicilians. Like if you look at me, I look a little bit Middle Eastern, a little bit. There are Sicilians that are Persian, Iranian.
Yeah.
You know, they have that mix of blood, and you have some that are Moorish. You know, have the African. You know, so it
Right.
depends on your genealogy. Um, Usually, the bigger Italians, like the bigger ones, are usually something mixed in with like Moorish stuff like that. But no, there are Sicilians that do have Persian blood, Iranian blood. They are.
Yeah. We
They
have the
really are.
Middle East police.
Yeah, I believe what history wants to say is. Oh, Jesus Christ! It's got to be hard being right all the time, isn't it,
It
Dutchy? Like to be
is.
right all the time. You know,
It's a burden all its own.
I'm telling you, to be the master of the universe, Jeff, it's got to be difficult. It's got to be difficult. But thanks for
It's
having me up. I want
lonely.
to. Yeah.
It's humility is a foreign emotion. Yeah.
Are you going up later? Are you going up later?
Yeah. I'm gonna
I'll see.
go run some errands, get lunch myself, probably do some watching in the Discord, take a
That's it,
break,
man. That's it.
come back out
All
later.
right. Well, sorry
Go
for a
get a
little
kick
bit
it
of
again.
trolling. I get fiery once in a while, but I pull myself back. But everything's great,
Well,
man.
you were not the only one, so it
Yeah.
never when it's just you and no trolls, it doesn't happen. You don't like
Yeah.
troll yourself or
No,
troll
not at
other
all.
people. It's when the trolls show up that dynamic gets activated.
I tried to get you $30. I tried my hard to get you $30. I
Yeah,
gave it a
what's the
shot.
deal? If he sends it, you'll do like 10 or 15 minutes with him.
Sure, and no
Okay.
problem.
All
I
right.
will. I'll roll with anybody as long as they're not talking about your
Eric, if you need my
kids.
Cash App again, hit me up. It's
Yeah.
Gen X
Yeah.
Jeff 2. Got to put the 2.
He owes you money. He welched on the deal. He
He's
welched on
showing
it.
who he is. It was captured
Yeah.
live for the world to see.
Well, you gentlemen have a good night. Joe, I know you didn't get to talk much. We kind of, this is a crazy panel, bro. Joe, my advice to you is when you want to say something, you got to jump in.
You have to
You got to
grab the
jump
mic.
over people. All right.
Yeah, I'm not.
So,
I'm not in a rush to get anything out, so that's why. If
He
something I need
plays the
to
long
say,
game. He's
yeah.
very
yeah,
patient. He could work it in.
no doubt. No doubt. I will see you guys later. I'm going to eat something. If you come up later and I'm available, I'll come up and talk to you guys. Joe, salute to you, brother. Jeff, another fun stream.
I
So
think so too.
I'll see you later, guys. See you later.
Take care, Mike.
All right.
All right. You have anything you want to get out that you didn't get to? It's just
No, I think it was interesting to sort of hear more about the dynamics here for a bit. But no, I think more my approach is um, I'll say the stuff I have to say mainly if people are in a mood to hear it, because then they're much more likely to engage with it productively. Especially if
yeah.
it's something like stocks. Like you can't just talk about stocks to somebody who does not want to talk about it. Like
Right.
people think it's boring or it scares them. So it's just people have to be in the attitude that that's what they want to discuss right now.
That sounds wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is kind of like part salon, part reality TV show, and part like blood sports. I think
Gotcha.
it's a combination of talk radio, reality TV, and the Phil Donahue show, where we have actual intelligent discussions.
Yeah. I know that those can happen here because like I know that's sort of like kind of been your thing and your tie-in with Paul and some of the other stuff. It's interesting to see that.
I'm still repping for the enlightened centrist. I know that seems to be people think the IDW's dying, centrism is dying, but I still consider myself a radically enlightened centrist, and I'm still holding that ground.
Do you think Paul gave up on that?
He not the concept of it, but the branding of it and the way he communicates it. He has like centrism and enlightened centrism is a concept. I think he's moving away from. He made a few videos about it.
Okay, because he was kind of doing this sort of entertainment troll persona for it, but
He's trying to reach certain people, and it's alienating some of the people he's trying to reach. So he's trying to like figure out how to rebrand in a way that he could reach more of the people he wants.
Sure. Yeah, I mean it's tough because, like I said, I think partisanship is addictive, and in a way that being nonpartisan or centrist or apolitical is not.
But
Um,
we still have to run a country together. Like you can only take partisanship so far before it
well,
becomes
we
counterproductive.
don't have to. We can fail to do so and accept the consequences of that failure. That's always
I
an
choose
option.
not to do that. I choose to keep the country going.
I think what most people are effectively doing though is choosing to fail. So I think that's kind of
Yeah.
what I think people actually are just okay with going in this direction, even if it seems bad.
Is it just inertia? Like we're just tired of running America?
I don't know. I think it's more like why do uh uh why are there like pretty girls who somehow end up with horrible, violent assholes when they clearly have options, even if they know
Evolutionary.
how bad it's going to be, right? It's just people make decisions that aren't straightforwardly reasonable, but clearly they must want something from it. So after a while, you just kind of learn to accept it. You can't fix some people. Um,
But I think we collectively as a country should not be making poor decisions together simultaneously.
I mean, it's disappointing because you would think with democracy that the idea is that we would have the ability to avoid that. But I think I don't know, whatever the norms of democracy were that kind of made it lean toward enlightenment, right? From like at the beginning, it was the formation of America was an enlightenment
Hmm.
project. We have gone in a different direction with it, and I almost wonder if they're like in their
I don't.
eras of history.
Do you think
Um,
we have? I don't. I don't think it's been abandoned. The Enlightenment. I think there's factions that are attempting to abandon it, but I don't think that that's complete yet.
I think we're going to an era like we're it almost seems like we're transitioning to some sort of post-democratic era of history, right? We had the eras of of monarchies and oh, thank you, and mercantilism, um, and theocracy. We've had eras with those things, and then democracy came after those. And I think we might be looking at just a system that follows that, where democracy isn't the main thing where things happen. I don't know if it means democracy falls or if the skeleton of democracy stays in
Are you
place,
talking about
and
globally or here in the U.S.? We're transitioning to
both
post.
both potentially. I
What
think
is post democracy? Like I don't.
I don't
Democracy is
I
the pinnacle, and then you can regress into authoritarianism or barbarism. But
well,
what is beyond democracy or
so
after
it's just
democracy?
think
That's
of
not a degeneration of democracy or regression.
so what you could have is where it is simply the case that maybe the structures of democracy remain in place. So essentially, talk about the United States, the common law system of the United States stays in place, but the big decisions that happen in it are not determined through public institutions like Congress, but they happen through private institutions like Tesla or
You
Walmart
think that's happening?
or
Like Congress is not in control?
doesn't mean Congress is not in control, but the question is that where the decision happens, right? If the decision doesn't happen there, then it happens somewhere else. And
Even if it happens somewhere else, if Congress is ultimately accountable and can change it or override it or whatever, if they're outsourcing their decision making power, but they still have ultimate accountability and responsibility for it, then to me we still have our system.
yeah, but then there are also ways in which the system can be co-opted so think of a multinational corporation, right? They could potentially um, influence Congress and legislatures of other nations where they operate, so that maybe in a localized sense they're under the control of that governing body, but in a broader global sense they have a lot more influence, right? Um, and I think something like that is emerging,
Like
and
influence is one thing, but actual decision making power, like Do
Well, I
you
think there are
think that the
actual. I think there are
government
actual
does not rest
decisions.
with the people? Like ultimately, our representatives are still accountable to us, regardless of who's making their decisions for them.
So
If
I think as a matter of technicality, it is based on the votes, but I think when we get to actual decisions, leaders are more influenced by, um, who's supporting them financially, because the financial support is the key to reaching out to the voters and getting the votes, right?
But
So
it's
we have
always
made it
kind of been like that. Like Citizens United might have exacerbated it, but that just sounds like normal politics. You're going to pay more attention to your donors than you are to some random
right.
person
So
on the street.
I think if it exacerbates it, it gets to a point where the the voters are dwarfed to a point that it's
It becomes an
functionally not
oligarchy.
democratic, right? Like, because in the past too, it's like it was much more likely that somebody who maybe didn't have really any budget for a campaign, but just had a good ground game could win. That's how Joe Biden started his career, actually, in the Senate.
You
Um,
don't think it's
he,
like that anymore? I don't feel disempowered as a voter.
I think that's. I mean, I think more realistically, like, um, a donor who lives in a different state has much more clout with my senator than I do.
How do
Um,
you know that's how do you quantify that? That's so subjective.
I think it's based on the fact that we can look at how much money goes into politics, and I think that the donations are a form of investment. They wouldn't make the contributions if they didn't think they were going to get something out of it. And I mean, you look at the fact, for example, that Joe Biden withdrawing from the race was a donor-driven decision, right? The donors talked to Pelosi, and Harris and Schumer, and they said you've got to get rid of him, right? And it wasn't based on what individuals in the Democratic Party would have wanted. That wasn't even being considered. I mean, the fact if we were considering what voters wanted, Joe Biden wouldn't have even run in the first place. They would have just said yeah, or there at least would have been a competitive primary, and
Now,
then
if
he could
you're
have been
talking
defeated.
about the DNC and the RNC, the political apparatus that
Mhm.
gets that I agree. Definitely, there's plenty to critique and plenty to reform there, and I see where that could potentially have people feeling a little powerless. That one particular part of the system, the way the two parties gatekeep who has who gets to
It's just,
advance through their system.
and it is something I've seen. Like, so when I would when I was active in the party, they would do candidate trainings for folks, and um, so people were running for the first time. They're like, here's a training to run it, and basically most of the training was here's how you fundraise, and basically the idea is like you cannot hope to run a campaign unless you can fundraise. So it doesn't matter what else you bring to the table to connect you with voters. It is considered just um, a dead candidacy if you can't fundraise. So you depend on donors. This is
Well,
considered
and
just
now
a
it's
standard.
easier to reach more people through social media with less
It
investment.
is easier to reach people, but I mean, they'd have to be able to write you a check, and it's like your easiest way to fundraise is going to be, a handful of people who can write you really big checks and get you going. And
So
so,
that's like the cocktail parties and the networking.
yeah, it's just the assumption is that you have at least some wealthy friends who will help you out. And over time, it's the big donors that have a lot of influence, or it's the people who have the network of the big donors. So Nancy Pelosi's rise to leadership in the House among the Democrats was based going back, 20 years on the fundraising connections she developed, so that she had control of the money flow within um, the Democratic caucus of the House, and she has leveraged that power for 20 years. Hillary
That sounds
Clinton.
like good politics.
I mean, it makes sense, right? But then we have to ask ourselves as um, when we're looking at as voters, citizens in a democratic system, is this functionally democratic, right? Because it can be the case that
I don't think
if I
that's
go
what voters vote on.
if I go to my congressman and I want something to happen, is it going to be based on what I want, or um, whether or not Nancy Pelosi is going to cut him off, right? And or if he were a Republican, if whoever the Republican leader is, they've changed it so many times lately. I don't remember who it is, but Um, that's sort of the issue there, and um, it's the role of money in politics has become more significant over the last 20 years, and so that's why I
Yeah,
think
because of
it could
Citizens
change.
United.
Right.
If
Um,
anything, we're in a post Citizens United world. I don't necessarily
right.
think we're in a post democracy world,
Well, I mean,
but
so
we're
I guess it
definitely in a
depends on like
post Citizens United. But everything you describe now, if you go back 100, 200 years, you're going to see people complaining about the exact same thing about their system. It's corrupt. The politicians don't work for the people. They're captured by. Do you? What is it about today that's different? Is it a difference in kind, or degree,
I
or
think it's a
or
difference in
scale?
it's degree and scale. It's like what people thought was too much corruption in the past. In most instances, you could argue that the Gilded Age had a similar problem. But I just think like if what people thought was corruption then and like the involvement of big money is not it does not compare to the scale of what big money is today. Like big money today makes big money 40, 50 years ago look like small money. And I'm not just talking about like, you know, unadjusted inflation figures. It's just not as much money was being dumped into this. And not only that, but wealth and income levels were more equal, right? The difference between the richest and the poorest wasn't
So
as big as
I agree wealth inequality is an issue. We
yeah.
looked at the graph the other day and middle class is doing this and upper class is doing this. But that is not democracy. We're talking about our system of government. Like I definitely agree wealth inequality
So
is something to keep
what
an
I
eye
am
on, but
saying
I
is that
separate that from
it's much easier if I'm wealthy to leverage my wealth to influence
but
politicians. I
that's
can write a
always
lot
been
more
true.
checks.
That's always been true.
That has always been true. But when you increase wealth inequality, it magnifies the extent to which that happens. So if the middle class is more often living paycheck to paycheck now, they cannot realistically hope to support political candidates financially
But
as much as
could they vote in and out candidates that are not working for them, that are not
yeah, they can do
enacting
that.
their
So
values?
this is why I'm saying we have the structure of democracy, right, where votes are still counted, and the question is how do you figure out the nature of the incentive structure so that you can still have that structure, where the votes are in place, but you remove the power of the individual voter and the relationship between the individual voter and their elected representative, whatever the level of government is. And I think we're sort of we donors, campaign committees, organizers are getting really good at developing these sophisticated ways to weaken that relationship and sort of be the gatekeeper
Like
in the decision
intentionally,
making
they're
process.
intentionally finding ways to keep the ordinary man from having access to their congressperson. Because I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
sure I could access mine today if I wanted to.
yeah, but I think in terms of when their feet are held to the fire, and what the public focus on issues is, and I think they're good at figuring out is like how do you actually control like what happens in an election, because it's essentially the case that an elected official could completely fail to deliver on anything, even a bare minimum of what they ran on, right? I don't think it's fair to say to give 100 demands to an elected official, and then when they only meet 99, they say, "Aha, he went back on his word," right? But
Yeah, and I don't
if they
think
if
most people do that.
I think a lot of people actually do that. That's just
That's weird to me. I do
e-
maybe like one or two really important issues, and I hope they
every
do
time you have to
something
vote yes
around
on a
those.
compromise bill, they say, "Aha, he backtracked," and it's just otherwise we would just let the government shut down every single time no elected official got exactly what they wanted. I think it would be better if candidates more often just ran on 3 or 4 big things, and then
I,
the
I,
rest is sort of open for negotiation. But
Most like when I'm looking at my ballot and the different candidate platforms, it seems like they do highlight like the 3 or 4 important things that they're running for or standing on, and I kind of use that to guide my vote.
some do, and the more local an election is, the easier it is to do that. But um, it's more and more the case that you have to toe a party line, and people running for the state agricultural commissioner might get asked like what their stance on Israel Palestine is, right? And it's completely irrelevant, but they people get sucked into partisan narratives like that. And so I think um there's a different psychology of an elected official when they're thinking about, oh, how will this offend a donor? Will this offend fundraisers versus is this going to serve the interests of my people? And like that's they vote differently on bills or write different bills when um, that is the mindset that they have.
That
And
seems like normal politics, and it still seems like the ultimate accountability still rests with the voter because the voter still has the
oh,
power
I
to
agree. I
swap
agree. I'm
out.
not saying the voters aren't accountable for this, right? Um, and so
So it doesn't
um,
seem our system has been hijacked by interest other than our own, because we still are able to take out the people that we put in that are doing that kind of stuff. If we decide that's not what we want, we can still put somebody else in that we
so
can give this
that's why
person
I'm
a
saying the
chance to do
structure is
something
still
different.
there. It's technically possible to vote out all the corrupt people. Voters could do it this very election, but it's not going to happen, and we all know it, right? And so then the question
How
is
many
why?
corrupt people
And
do you think there are? Like, what's the
it's probably
rate of
I would say
corruption?
it's the vast majority of them at this point. I mean, if they're taking contributions from um corporate donors, I mean they
Are
mostly
you
all rely
calling
on the.
lobbying corruption?
I would say most lobbying is corruption. I'm not saying it's
Oh,
it's a
I'm not
it's
counting. If it's legalized corruption, I'm not counting it as corruption. So if the
okay.
issue is lobbyists,
Yeah,
that's one of
I'm
the
effectively
rules of the
talking.
game we've.
Yeah, I'm effectively talking about like I'm including like what we accept as legal cheating. So like gerrymandering is legal. Is it cheating? Sure. Um, in a fully transparent democratic system or whatever, I don't think we would do that. But
But
um,
both sides do it. So again, like that's something that's part of the game rules at this point
right.
too.
So what I'm saying is just like um, it is part of it, right? And in fact, this is why I think we're in a post-democratic system because there's more to it than just the people and their leaders, right? There's this game going on, and where a lot of the power and influence, with the effect on real decisions and real policy, is occurring as a direct result of the inflow of big money into the political process.
But
And
hasn't that always been the case?
so I would say it was sort of like a curve. So if you look at when America started, right, voting rights were limited to just property owning white men, and so you're effectively talking about only the rich and privileged were voting. Maybe upper middle class in some cases, and they expanded the vote over time. I think we got to our most like purest sense of democracy, during the period of the New Deal to the Civil Rights Movement, and we were kind of on a general direction toward that from the moment the Constitution was ratified, and then we are working back essentially from that democratic high point. And so um, I think the reversal in direction is sort of where we begin to think: are we going in a post-democratic direction, where the bones of democracy are still there? But like, what's the meat on those bones? It's going to be a
Is
different
post
meat.
democracy oligarchy?
Yeah, in some ways, I think it could be right. Like,
Because
I
that
think.
seems that's existed before democracy. So when you say post, to me it's a regression to a previous form of government.
Well, I think there are some like newer systems. So I think multinational corporations are a newer thing. I think a lot of state-like power and authority is increasingly going to be
What
wielded
about all
by
those antitrust
corporations.
lawsuits that the government is? It
Um,
doesn't seem like the corporations have the final power. It's still government.
um, I think if those were serious threats, then there just would have been a lot more antitrust suits and legislation up to this point, and we'd be looking at smaller companies, in the S&P 500. Um, but that's just not the way it's gone. So I think the
I,
fact that there's actually a severe lack of antitrust enforcement is kind of evidence of the fact that
so
these
the
are these
fact
are
that they're
these
doing anything at all is not enough to signal to you that it's a system that's going to keep these corporations in check like it's supposed to.
right. I
It
mean, like
doesn't
for
inspire
example,
your faith or trust in it.
Right. So here's another example of people realizing a similar thing in the past. So I think it was Voltaire who said, "The Holy Roman Empire is neither holy nor Roman nor an empire." And a lot of the structure of it was there, and it continued to exist for several years after he wrote that. There was a point where the Holy Roman Empire was a Christian Catholic led entity where the emperor had power, and it actually had Rome in its territory, so it was Roman. Um, and that changed over time, where the Catholic Church wasn't relevant anymore. It became mostly Protestant states. Um, Rome was not in its territory, and the emperor had very little influence over the constituent parts of the Holy Roman
I
Empire.
don't see the
And
analogy to us yet. To here.
um, so I think when we talk about democracy, especially the idea of democracy that we had coming out of sort of the New Deal civil rights era of American politics,
Oh, wait, hang
we're
on then. Are you talking about that specific subset of democracy, the New Deal type democracy? Because
yeah,
I
I
think of
think I
democracy is like a larger concept going all the way back to Athens.
yeah, I mean when we talk about like Athens, right, that was very limited, right? And
Yeah,
in
but
American
it's
history,
still
we had
that like
actual well,
to me, I feel like we're post democracy when I no longer have the ability to affect or influence the system. And I don't feel that that's been diminished in the least in my entire lifetime. So I feel like I have the same power to interact with and influence and affect the system that I always have. And so I don't feel
okay.
like I'm post anything. I feel like it's still the same that it's always been for me.
Yeah, well, I meant for my part, for example, if I want to influence anything, um, I think I could not do it through the democratic process. That's just never going to happen. I would have to do it through some sort of private institution. Any goal I want to pursue in my life, big or small, I
I
cannot
guess
help.
I count that as part of,
Yeah.
like the freedom to do that privately, I count that as part of the benefits of democracy. So I'm
So
including
this is
all of
why I'm
that.
saying it's the bones of democracy, right? It's something that happens within our common law system. But the actual like Congress can just get deadlocked for 50 years and never making big material changes on anything. And essentially, at that point, it's whatever private institutions decide to do in the meantime, right? And if that becomes the norm, rather than you go to Congress, you go to your state government, um, and you figure something out, then that is the system I'm talking about. And I think that's different than what things used to be.
Are
Um,
there indications that that's becoming the norm?
yeah, I mean, I think I've mentioned them. Is the fact that one thing that's evolved about our system as well is you didn't necessarily need a lot of decisions to be made. There have been a lot of major scientific and commercial advancements since America was started, where there are a lot of things that we have to decide now, right? Like we have to think more carefully about what are we doing with our rivers, right, and our water supply. How are we deciding that? How are we deciding things with our food supply, right? There's so much more going on now, and we've developed a lot of government bureaucracies in response to that, and then we have to decide what are we going to do with those on the day to day, and then what we do with those is going to depend, you know, um, more on like where the decision's being made. And one of the things that at least they're saying is a part of what informs Trump's candidacy, for example, is their displeasure over the fact that federal regulators are just members of the corporate world, and they're doing things that will benefit the businesses from which they hail, and it's not based on what is good public policy for the nation
How is
per
that
se.
happening? That they're all
Um,
corporate captured?
so it's pretty simple. Congress just has to appoint people to run those agencies that are working in the interests of the companies. And so if Congress has a financial dependency on donors from that area, from that industry, then there's a relationship right there. And I mean, it's regularly the case that people who are from the big banks will work in the financial agencies. People who are from big pharma or health insurance companies will work in things like the FDA, or the
But
EPA.
is it because that's where the expertise is?
So some of it is that, but you can also have experts who are not bound to that, right? And you do have examples of that, but um, it kind of goes to, like, for example, with the war in Iraq, who got most of the government contracts with that? Halliburton. And Dick Cheney was the CEO of Halliburton in the 90s, right
Right.
before he became vice president, right?
And
So
you think that's the norm, stuff like that.
that's the
Is
norm. I mean, so many people who directly contributed to problems that led to the 2008 financial crisis have worked in the federal agencies under Democrats and Republicans since then. And right now, like, I'll even tell you, like, this is kind of the reverse order, but one of my large holdings in my portfolio, the CEO of that company was the head of the IRS under Obama. So it's sort of a revolving door, and he could very easily just go back to work in the public sector again, depending on how the winds blow.
and the
Another,
assumption is that people are not going to be able to be conscientious and professional enough to separate their personal private interests from their duties in whatever job role. That's where the corruption comes in, and most humans are going to fall on the side of not being able to do that.
yeah, I don't think that that's realistically the
And I
case.
just
You
have
have
way more faith. Maybe I have in humans that most people are going to do their job, like try to do their job, and to
I
the
don't think people will do that. I don't. No, I think most people are not like that. I think most people are. They're going to convince themselves that what makes my business partner's money is what's good for society, and that's how they're going to do it. So they'll tell themselves little lies, but um,
I
I
just
think.
don't think that's most people. I think that's where we're at. That is the divide. Is
Mhm.
like the level of cynicism or optimism or realism or idealism or naivete we have about the majority of our fellow citizens. I'm just more trusting and optimistic of them than you may be.
Just my interactions with the Democratic Party is that people don't work like that. People are corruption is a thing that only happens to the other side, and they don't see it as something that happens on their side. And I think that's a big part of the problem. So I think a part of why things, because again, like you've established, these things happen based on votes, right? Leaders who sell out their voters to big money could get thrown out at any time, but they aren't. And in fact, they are usually reelected. The same people
Then that
who
is
say
the
we
will
need
of the people. That is what we want.
exactly. So this is why I'm saying post-democratic rather than like anti-democratic. Does this make more sense when I clarify?
It still
Um,
seems like it still seems like a, a a manifestation of democracy. This is emerging from the democratic process. This is a
right. So what I'm saying is that like
product of democracy.
so what I'm saying is like the the plants that are growing in the garden are not democracy themselves anymore, right? Rather, democracy is the soil, and the thing that sort of defines what our society is what grows out of that, right? So it's it is something that is downstream of it, but it's fundamentally a different system, right? It's like this modern thing that didn't exist in the past, right? It's not like old mercantilism
That
in the
I
past.
don't
It's not
see. I see the
feudalism.
exact same system that Schoolhouse Rock taught us back in the 1970s. The three rings of government, the checks and balances, the voters having the ultimate power resting with the voters. I don't see any of that having changed just because the different points of influence might have moved around or intensified. That the origin and end of the process still lies with the voter. So whatever's happening downstream from that is ultimately the voter is accountable to that. That is either their will if they're allowing it to continue, or they'll change it if it's not their will. So the voter is still the locus of power in our, and as long as we have that, I don't think we have any different system than we've always had. That is a democracy.
I think one subtlety is like there's a line, there's sort of a difference between what the voters want versus what the voters will accept.
But that's
And
still all part of democracy. I don't think that line changes it from one form of government to another.
well, so think of it this way, right? If elections are always about voting for the lesser of two evils rather than something you actually want, um, that is, I think, a key difference there. There was
I
potential
think
for
that's on the voters too, for not getting better
but
candidates through.
nothing I'm saying should be construed as the voters can't do something
Because when
about
you
this.
say
So
post democracy, I envision the power shifting somehow from the voters to something else. That would be the post part. And as
right, so
long as that
some
hasn't
power is
happened, we're
shifting.
still in a democracy.
I'm not saying that like the lever to pull isn't still there, right? But if we're talking about power shifting, like big money has power now that it didn't have, 4 or 5 decades
Power
ago.
to influence, but not to control a voter's
But that
will
that
at the
that is very
lever.
real
And as
power.
long as that's intact, that is the final stopping point of a democracy.
And I would say that there it can come with some levels of control. So for example, if a lot more of the day to day is determined by what happens in private institutions, it's a lot of what happens in people's lives is going to be based on whatever HR policy is, right, in a company, because the law is just silent on it, right? And so like that's actual power. And so um
But it's
I would agree.
voluntary because you voluntarily affiliate with the company or not. And
That's
so you
true. So,
consent to that power structure.
and this is why I don't um apply to working places like that anymore. And that also means I might just never apply to work anywhere again, right? But um for a lot of folks, I think a lot of people who are kind of disaffected voters, right? They went from, especially if they've worked at the same place for many years, right? That was sort of something that was applied after the fact, right? So they've seen changes in things like this where if they want to keep the job they already had, they certainly have to go along with all these new things that are added. And you like you say, you can voluntarily um, do that or not, but then they risk completely uprooting their lives. And how easily can they change that by writing their congressman about it, right?
They
And
still have
so
choice. They're
yeah,
adults with choices, and if DEI is subverting, like they're choosing to capitulate to it for practical reasons or whatever, well then yes, that is still their choice.
mhm.
And I think that will endanger democracy if enough people hand over that kind of power. And so I do see that as a threat. Things like that can threaten our democracy. But as long as enough
Yeah.
of us don't do that, we'll be fine. I think
Well,
that's
and
the worry is how much, where does that line stop?
yeah, and I think it's not going to stop. I think more realistically, it's going to continue. And um, the big money is it gets its advantage from increasing partisanship, right? Um, so if you want to have an enlightened centrist future, um, more partisanship and big money do not get you there. And like it's a weird thing, for example, that so many people say we need term limits, but they keep reelecting their congressman or their state legislator or whatever the seat in question
Right. So
is,
you go
right?
by what they do instead of what they say. Just
Exactly.
ignore
And
what they
so,
say.
but think about it. Why is it that what people, I mean, some people will get like really into a passionate, like rage argument about why we need term limits, right? And so you could say, no, we don't need term limits. And they'll like get red in the face about why we do, but then they're not actually going to vote in a direction that leads us anywhere closer to term limits. So what's the disconnect here? Like we got to analyze, why do people seem to want something in one moment, but when it comes time to vote, they just accept something else? They could demand something differently, but why isn't that occurring? Um, and I think there are layers to our society, layers of money, of layers of a donor lawmaker relationship versus a voter lawmaker relationship. We could try to define what all these layers are, and whether they're fundamentally different or the same or they overlap. Um, I don't know if we really need to examine the minutia of it that much, but I think the big picture is that there's this change, right? There's like this, almost like this fourth branch of government that exists now, and that one
Which
might
is
end,
what?
end up being the biggest one. The whatever it is that we call this big money thing, right? However we want to summarize it. Right. So it's like people say there was a fifth member of the Beatles, George Martin, because of
I, yeah,
the big
I've
role he
always
played.
heard like the media being the fourth branch of the government.
So you could say the big money is part of that because
But
the
I
media are.
don't see big money as being a branch of government. I see it kind of as like the oil or the grease that flows through the engine, but it's not its own branch.
Well, I think when it directs results and has a big influence on
Well,
that.
money doesn't, individuals do. Like
Right. And
individuals direct the results using the money, which is political influence, which has been a part of politics forever. Like the art of rhetoric grew out of the need to persuade people of political positions way back in Greece thousands of years ago. So that has been an enduring part of Western culture. The
right. And I'm not saying
influence,
that to
persuasion.
be a democracy, it has to be a completely level, like Marxist playing field. But what I am saying is there's a fundamental difference to what democracy is when there's a lot more wealth and social equality compared to when it balloons to a completely different level, to a point where you wonder, like, is this functionally democracy anymore? Is it just technically a democracy on paper? Does it operate in ways that are very undemocratic while still being within the bounds of this,
It
what we
just
have
seems like
defined
a
as a
different,
democratic system?
it seems like a democracy with the emphases distributed differently than other democracies, but it
Yeah.
still
So
seems like a democracy in form and feature.
that's why I'm saying post-democracy. I'm not saying anti-democracy or non-democracy. I'm just saying it's this thing that comes after democracy. Doesn't mean democracy goes away, right? Like, but what happens after democracy's been around long enough, right? And
You get more democracy until you have something else. It iterates itself. This is like democracy. I don't know 5.0 or something, but it's still democracy. It just looks different than the democracy that came before it.
well, let's see what the people in the comments think, because um, I think I've explained my thing. You know, and I'm just it's just me sort of clarifying, saying I'm not saying voters can't do this, right? So, but it is why I don't really worry about the democratic process anymore, because I'm aware there's this trend where voters seem to want something, they never get it, and that just happens every
Because
election. So,
they don't demand it. That's what they're not getting it because it's not important enough for
mhm.
them to demand. Because they get the stuff they demand, usually, when they fight hard enough, they get.
Yeah, and then it's a question of why don't they demand it, right? And I think for me, all roads lead back to it's this big money thing. It's just
And to me, it all
they've got,
leads to personal psychology.
but I think that's what big money's wielding, right? So they're I think they've gotten really good at figuring out how to pull those levers and turn those dials.
Then you
And
get the like we're all being mind controlled conspiracy theories. And like humans are
I
such passive creatures without any kind of cognition or agency of their own that they could just be passively influenced by the right amount of money and puppeted through life. And that is so contrary to my own experience and the experience of like most humans that I know. They make choices and decisions all day long and they ignore influences that lead them to choices and decisions that don't line up with their internal psychology.
yeah, and I'm saying that there's this weird thing going on where it's just like a pretty girl who dates a guy that gives her black eyes, and she doesn't like the black eyes. She hates him when he does it, and yet she can never seem to break up with him. Or if she does, she goes back to him 2 weeks later. And everybody knows at least one girl who's done something like that, right? It's people. There are some
So
people
you
who are
think
weird
that's
like
more
that.
the voters? They're more like the abused
We
girl.
we have voters who are voting in that exact psychology, and I don't think that's necessarily a given that people would be that way, but they have nevertheless gravitated in that direction. It's
That could be. There's a certain segment of voters that
right,
are.
and I think big money has had a big role. Like if you just get people to think, oh, I have to do this. Oh, there's no hope. I'm backed into a corner. This is the most important election of my life. Um, then yeah, you get results like that where people are not excited. Like people, I feel like when people voted for FDR in 1932, they believed something was going to happen. When they voted for JFK in 1960, they believed something was going to happen. When they voted for Ronald Reagan in 1980, they believed something was going to happen. And now
Not every
today,
election
people
is
are,
going to be like that.
No. But it's like no election is going to be like that now.
Well, I don't know. I can't predict 2028 at all. Like it may be. We don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'd be
can't
surprised
make
if people.
predictions about the future based on that. But oh, never mind. I lost it. It'll have to come back around.
I was gonna. I'd be surprised if in our lifetimes people were voting for something and thinking something was going to happen versus trying to stop something, or just the same like, oh, if I don't stay with the guy who gives me two black eyes, then I'm gonna
But
have to get with the guy who
I
gives me
wonder
black
what
eyes and
decisions would
breaks my
people be
arm.
making without the influence of money? Are you I don't know that they'd be making any better. Is the assumption that without money, people would be making the perfectly wise, intelligent political choice at all times, and it's only the influence of money that's preventing them from being these perfect political geniuses? I don't know what kind of choices they would make without money.
So I think it is silly to assume that we would have like perfect decisions coming out. I think even at our best, we've had leaders who make bad decisions, but or it's like um but I think there's just something weird when people are clearly very unhappy with the results they're getting, and yet they can't seem to figure out a way to vote differently, to get something better. And um and so what ends up happening is just that we're relying more and more on private institutions where there's no democratic process. It's just whoever is in control, whoever has the ownership rights, just decides things, and that's how the issue is settled. And that is a different system, right? That's a different social contract. People will not
We've
expect these
always
big.
relied on private, though. We've had
Okay,
the private and the public has always been two options.
but it's a fundamentally different system when, let's say, like for example, like we didn't have big banks in the same sense that we do now decades ago, right? Like people normally went to a more local bank, right? So, but it's a handful of banks that have most of the banking operations and have a huge control of what is possible within our financial system, right? And over time, that consolidates more and more. Like I just looked at Discover and Capital One are trying to do a merger, right? Now, interestingly, the federal government has put up some resistance to that. So there's one example of them actually having a stomach for antitrust enforcement.
But what are the effects? Because banking still seems to work like it always has, other than I
Well,
can do it online now.
I think uh, that Canadian guy was talking about a good example is how his assets got frozen, right? His bank accounts got frozen, and I think
So
the more
there's
you
potential
centralize.
abuses, but I don't think that's the norm. I don't think like Americans are getting their accounts frozen left and right for like having the wrong
Right, but
political
the
opinions.
more that like a private financial system, like any system like that, is centralized, there's reasons businesses do it, right? Not necessarily for social control, but just because um, you have a better operating efficiencies at scale. But then this is something that opens up. See, Shameless said, I don't agree at all with that. Problem is, most individuals are not autodidacts. They are not the self-taught or check resources on the average basis. This
Right.
is the issue.
I feel this. It's individual empowerment. It's not external. It's
Well,
individual. Like
I don't disagree with that. I
because
just don't see how that's
there
serving.
are potential abuses to be watched out for, but I think for the most part we are containing the abuses. I think for the most part the government is invested in reducing and preventing those abuses. So I have trust that it's not going to get overly abused in a way that causes it not to function. I don't think it's at the point where it's just corrupt from abuse by its nature.
Well, I'm just saying there's like what I am noticing, right? I'm not necessarily saying the causal aspect. There's this weird psychology in voters, right? Like something is odd when people are profoundly unhappy with the results that they're getting, um,
And
and yet they
I
keep
don't
voting
even
the
know
same
that
way.
that's true. I haven't talked to individual voters. That could be a social media artifact.
When I talk to people, even people I just run into in real life, that's usually the vibe I get.
But then
I mean,
most people are never happy about politics. My whole life, people have grumbled about politics
well,
on
I
both
mean,
sides.
what polls have been showing is that there's definitely an increase in unsatisfaction um, with elected officials. That's been a trend. that's been
The
rising over
one, well,
time.
then they can just vote different people in. I don't, that doesn't move me. What I feel, if people are dissatisfied with somebody and that they can't seem to make a different choice, they have a problem inside of their head. That's not anything happening outside of them. But what I do hear is that the economy, the prices, the grocery prices, the inflate, all of that shit is affecting people. And whether it's elected officials or some other cause, that's what they're frustrated with. That's what they feel powerless to affect.
Yeah. And so, um, but to what Shameless said about most individuals are not autodidacts, that's true. And I think when we have a more complex system, if we go back to what I think I said this about 30 minutes ago, when there's been a lot of scientific advancements, commercial advancements, what is required of the individual voter to be fully informed is a lot higher than used to be the case. There's just so much more information about that now.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd agree with
we
that.
rely much more on experts, right? Um, and um, that obfuscates things a lot, and it's very easy to vote imprecisely, um, especially because of that, right? So it's maybe that's part of what big money takes advantage of. It's really easy to
But
confuse
is there
people
is
and
the
do smoke
assumption
and
that
mirrors.
there's a correct way to vote and the voter might get it
Um,
wrong? Or are they expressing their will and they're free to express whatever range of options they have that reflect their will?
um, so I'm definitely a believer of sometimes there are no solutions to a problem. Sometimes life just sucks. So, for example, when I look at COVID and the public response to that, the way I look at it is we got hit by a pandemic, and I mean, what do you expect that to be easy? I feel like people wanted a magic solution to COVID, and we didn't get one because it's a disease, and they formed a lot of, I think, unfair assumptions on about Democrats and Republicans based on how poorly the whole pandemic went. But
Like their expectations were unreasonable
yeah, like
to
people
because
are
they didn't
live under the
understand
delusion.
viruses.
They live under the delusion that we were free of pandemics and plagues just because we hadn't had one since the Spanish flu, right? They got complacent with their mortality. And no, you can die of a plague, right? Don't expect to not get buboes or something like Europeans did in the Middle Ages. That's always possible. Wash your hands more if you're worried about that stuff. And don't turn into this whole like conspiracy by the left or the right to kill everybody with COVID or something like that. But that's what a lot of people did. And
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is like there are these forces, these patterns in society that are tweaking the social contract, that are following democracy, and not necessarily ending it, but it's this thing that has happened in the aftermath of it. It's something that was probably made possible by democracy. Um, and So it's going to be a new system, and I think we're going to get to a point where a lot of our great leaders in society are not going to be folks who were necessarily effective senators or presidents, but it's going to be more and more the case that they were folks who did things in the private sector. So I think a lot more of great American leaders are not going to be remembered as like, um, you know, a Washington or Lincoln, but more like maybe an Elon Musk, for example, somebody who has a role in society like that. And that doesn't mean like democracy necessarily completely dies, but it's sort of it's a post-democratic thing, right? It's an era that is defined by what happened after an era where democracy was what it was the main game, and just something else, a new main game
It
happened
just
within the structure of democracy.
was the Gilded Age post democracy. It just seems like another form of democracy.
I think the Guild Age had a way to had a chance to lead it that way, but there was a public response to it. So the system of democracy reined it in. Um, but it's less clear to me now that that is going to be the case now. I think there's actually um there's new life. There's I think because of especially because of the way technology has evolved. We have this happening largely in the context of the internet, and so the internet almost creates this new plane of existence, right, in parallel to the real one, right? Like the fact that we have people who are going to spend their days on here trolling rather than actually going out and do something right. It's like it's almost like it's a new outdoors for them. It's
It
not
is.
like
This is yes, yes.
when you
It
tell
is.
people touch grass, right? It's kind of pointless because to
This
them
is the
going
new
online is
grass.
touching grass. And so with all people are talking about selling digital real estate now, right? And that's actually becoming a thing. And this is like going along with a lot of this. So it's this does the fact that digital real estate exists mean that there's not a democratic system governing the servers that are running the digital real estate? No, but right, it's definitely something that's happening in the aftermath of what democracy built up. And it's like think of nation states, right? Those were the product of medieval monarchies. Those formed in that context, right? And then they gave way to democracy. It's not like democracy completely did away with the concept of nation states that formed. Like France is still
No, I
France,
think we
Britain's
need
still Britain.
nation states to have democracy.
Right. So, but like they formed in response to as a result of monarchies at the time. Many of those states still retain their monarchies. Britain still has their monarch. Sweden still has their monarch. Um, and and so it's not like some of the bones of that are still there. Um, but some democracy started filling in that, and now it's what's filling in the space that was created by democracy, right? And you see it as like these. If you look at these eras as things that are like filling in a space that something else created, I think that's sort of what I'm looking at. It's something where we're more and more we'll probably have to look at ourselves and our role in this world less as I'm an American. What is the thing to do
It's
as an
about
American
globalism.
system? Maybe it's globalism. Maybe it doesn't
I
even mean
think you're
globalism.
right, but I think you're a few hundred years off. I think you're right, and at some point humanity will transition to something like that. But I think at the stage we're at, we're still on the nation state democracy stage. And what you're saying is happening might, like a few hundred years from now, be there. But I don't think it's like happening in the next 20 or 30 years. I think that's like a large geopolitical trend over generations, what you're talking about.
Looking up what the comments said.
Right, that's why I'm trying to become a based capitalist myself. It looks like it's winding down, actually. I might take this opportunity to go get lunch.
Yeah, I might need to go too because there's this speaking event on campus that has free food, and I'm gonna go to that. Um,
Is it an interesting topic at least?
yeah, I actually do try to go to ones that like are interesting to me. So let me pull up what it's called again. It's called Twitter Wars. The front lines of free speech.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's everything that they've been talking about in the news lately that I've been worried
yeah,
about.
and the student group hosting it is the Student Free Speech Alliance. So I was actually hoping to have my nonprofit work with them if it had actually gotten anywhere. I spoke with the leaders a bit. So and they usually provide free Chick-fil-A when they have their events. So um, they're very important that I make an attempt to go to this.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it sounds like some good networking too. So they're like
Yeah. So
anti-woke, they have the same concerns about speech as I do.
but, uh, based on the kinds of events they've had, yeah, they basically I don't know if they're necessarily anti-woke, but they definitely
But
don't want to
from the
just
left.
they don't want to accept um, woke as a given or operate their events based on what woke people would want. Definitely not. Um, yeah. So trying to think, how did we get into the whole post-democracy? I feel like there was something that
I
led
don't
up
even
to it.
know.
So yeah, but my point is you might think it's still democracy, and maybe all we really did was quibble over labels.
I mean, as long as I can vote and influence and change things and advocate
Um,
and run for it, I have a democracy.
so yeah, I guess the one conclusion I'm different on is I'm not going to vote. I don't tend to vote. I'm not going to contribute to it. campaign. I'm not going to run for office. And anything, if I want to do anything, I'm going to do it as an individual. I don't even look at it as me being a citizen in the country anymore. I just look at it as me being a person floating around.
Oh, well, no wonder we're so coming from so different paradigms.
Yeah, like I look at it as like, well, my vote's immaterial because, like you said, most other voters just vote for these things, right? So it's like, they say they want term limits. They keep reelecting the people that they want to be term limited, right? It's just, that's sort of how I look at it, right? It's a dysfunctional system. What is functional seems to be what's sort of grown alongside it. And it's not something like, if I want to make for my own decisions, if I want to make assumptions about the future, I can do that with some things. I can't do that as through the democratic process. And
Yeah, I don't know
so
that that's what it's there for. I don't know if it's a future making machine so much as a way to organize our present society.
yeah, so it just doesn't really matter to me anymore.
Wow. Well, this was a good talk.
More
I think I'm the
interesting than
only. I
who's
feel
pro
like
or
the
not.
only person, the lone person that still has faith in trusty old USS America, um, sailing into the future, and everybody
Yeah.
else is so. They're living in a completely different America. There's post 9/11 America, there's post Citizens United America, there's post COVID America,
Well,
and
I
I
think
think I'm
post
still
9/11
living
and
off
post
of like 1970s Schoolhouse Rock America.
I think post 9/11 and post Citizens United America actually sort of fit together pretty
Yeah,
well to
and I
the
think
system that
that's
we
the
have.
America that I'm kind of oblivious to. I know it's there. I was around for both those events, but
Mhm.
the impact they had on my life was negligible. And so to me, it looks like the same life I've always had, more or less.
Gotcha.
But for people coming after that, they were like born into those changes in a way that I'm not going to notice.
Mhm. Yeah. So, like I was 9 when 9/11 happened, and then I was 17 when the Great Financial Crisis happened, and so I've kind of seen like kind of how things were right before they started. Obviously, when I was a kid, I could have only known so much, but I've seen how the effects of these have incrementally compounded over years, and just I mean I can see the difference to when I got active in the Democratic Party in 2006 to what the Democratic Party is today, and I wonder how did we get from that point A to this point B? And I can think about what the key influencing factors were. Um, and certainly a democracy, if it is a good one, a functioning one in some sense, would change in relationship to the times of the day. Um,
I don't know if that's
and
axiomatic.
well, I mean, I think if we be like America today is a 50-state country that spans from the Atlantic to the Pacific, right? That's not what America was when it started. So today we're going to be asking different questions that have different problems than Americans at that time. Even if that was the only difference, right? Um, and so that's inevitable. It's just then there's analyzing, what changes are occurring because it's a democratic system naturally responding to that, or did other things evolve as well?
And how do
That's
you
sort of
know?
like,
Like that's the part that seems just we're
well,
guessing.
that's the
Like
thing. It's a paradigm, right? Like there's no clearly defined, like, is George Martin the fifth Beatle or not? Right? It depends on what you think really would make determining someone to be the fifth Beatle an even worthwhile statement to make. And so, is
yeah.
this big money apparatus the fourth branch of government, and does it end up actually being bigger than the other three?
So
Depends
it's
on
more like a belief than a fact. Because on paper,
right,
George Martin was definitely not the fifth Beatle, and on paper, we
right.
still definitely have our existing democracy.
Exactly. It's more like it's getting more into the if it looks like a duck and sounds like a duck, at what point do you actually call it a duck, right? And in
When it
some
actually
cases,
becomes a duck.
right, in some cases, you're actually going to discover a brand new species of duck. And in other cases, it's something completely different, right?
Yeah.
Like a platypus is not a half duck, half beaver. It's something else. Um, and and that's sort of the way way we have to look at things. And so, um, like for example, actually no, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But um, yeah, as far as like this is a big reason why I'm more into investing is because if you want to make individual decisions where um you can have reasonable expectations about what you get from it in the future. Investing is a good way to do that. We do have a system that rewards that pretty well. We have a stable common law system. You know, whether it's democratic, post-democratic, we have a stable system of common law, and that makes private decisions very predictable in ways that aren't true of the public sector. Let's see, what are the comments saying?
Oh, I think they're having a conversation with each other.
Oh, okay. I don't know if they're talking about what we were saying, or if they are talking about something else completely different.
I think it's general comment, and then they're talking to each other. So this is a good stopping point then, and you can
Yep.
go hear about free speech. Yeah, if you meet any of them that want to like come and talk about it or something, invite them on. I'd love to
Well, they're a
talk to
bunch of
free
college
speech people.
students, so I don't know how many of them want to talk to millennials and Gen Xers.
I think it'd be very healthy for them to start
Might be. But
making
here's the thing:
connections
what
with
I
their
noticed with
elders,
young people is you
so
got to
we
let
can
them fail
correct them.
before they appreciate you.
Yeah, Plasma, you too. Thank you. Shameless. Here I am. You know, it's always good to see you. Daisy. Not
Yeah,
Laws. I
this is a good talk
suppose you
though.
too. Yeah, let's do more.
Yeah, and I'll DM you the other stuff that we secretly discussed
Oh
while
yeah, yeah.
the
I
other
am
folks
interested.
were.
I need
Yeah.
that. That's what I'm lacking right now. I think that's the next piece I need to start figuring out how to go forward.
All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off then, and I'll catch you later, Jeff.
Okay. Take care, Joe. Good
Bye,
talking.
folks.
No, I don't either, Daisy. You've been here for a while. I don't remember anything about you. Let me tell you about me and conflict. It's never just me. The conflict only happens when there's somebody else on the end of the conflict helping it to happen. It doesn't happen with the 8 or 9 people out of 10 that I don't have conflict with. So to say I'm high conflict, it's very much dependent on the type of the other person as well. So, oh, Raven House was it was the coolest little place. It was it was an actual house in Seattle, like in the suburbs, but it was a like day center slash after school drop in for autistic, neurodivergent kids, like all ages from kindergarten, first grade, all the way to like older kids. And they had all these activities. They had like a kitchen, a living room, a playroom, a music. So it was like a little homey atmosphere that neurodivergent people could come in and they'd help them with studies. They'd help them connect with other neurodivergent people and learn social skills. And I was going to get involved with it. And I got all excited. I bought the T-shirts. They had all these T-shirts, everything, and then they ended up having to close down. They couldn't get the funding to continue or something. And so it's like one of those like almost dream projects almost happened, and then it got set. But it was very inspirational for me, and I tried to take the. I was only involved with him for like maybe a few weeks, days to a week or so, and it was like I got a little glimpse of what could be, and then I was able to take that and say, okay, at least there was at one time the beginning of a model of something like that that I can use to like try to implement my own. So that's what Raven House is. Maybe, but again, here that's a personal thing. I don't judge anybody for not voting. I think not using your voice is a legitimate use of your voice. I think silence is a legitimate expression. of your will, yourself, your voice. Um, and each person, just like each person's going to come to their vote differently, each person's going to come to their decision to not vote differently. And so I just take that as a legitimate voting choice as much as any of the others. And I don't judge any people for their vote. If it's on the ballot, if it made it through the process and got on the ballot, then Americans are allowed to choose it. It's not a moral act at that point. You can't fault an American for exercising their right to choose something that's on the ballot, even if it's Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris or whoever. Americans have the right to vote for who's on the ballot. How did this come about me here? I think I handled it okay. I'll let the viewers decide. It's all on stream, so I'm sure people will have your opinion and other people will think I do fine. And that's just kind of how YouTube goes. So I appreciate your feedback. All right, I'm going to go eat and I'll be back later. Take care, everybody, and see you then.